Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Shuttlecast. My name is Sal.
My name's Josiah.
And my name's Nathan.
And welcome to The Gang's All Back, and we're back, everybody. We did it. We're back.
Hey.
The long-awaited full return.
That's right, the full...
United,
and it feels so good.
Shoot this motherfucker.
I didn't expect that.
I wanted to hit it before anybody else did. I replaced a gift from Draco's father.
Yeah,
I want to keep the soundboard fresh, you know, take out some molds, put in some news. And also I saw that clip from Wanted on my feed the other day, and I was like, that's what that's from. That's right. So I snagged it and I put it.
It's a great scene because it when you hear it out of context, the line sounds very scary, but in context, it's a man very desperately trying to maintain control.
Shoot this motherfucker.
So we took our first week off since coming back.
Well, no, we didn't. A video was posted.
I guess, yeah.
That's right.
A video was posted, but we didn't do our proper sit down, shoot the shit.
Sure.
But the work never truly stops.
A man got married. We had to allow this.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah,
that's right. I was wed and fled the country briefly. So you know, I was
unrelated, by the way.
Yeah, no, it all happened to work out very well.
But yeah, Nathan, I'm so happy for you. It's fucking amazing, honestly.
Yeah.
God bless.
No, it's been fucking great. Having a vacation followed by a staycation was wonderful. This might be talking shop, so you know, insight, unless this gets edited out, which I don't think it would be.
Why would I bother?
Precisely. Sal, are you
unless you fled the country for a different reason.
That's true.
I want to hang out this week. Yeah.
Sweet.
Do it.
I mean,
got souvenirs for both of you, and it works best when we're all united.
And I gotta bring my wedding gift over because it's huge.
That's right. That's a truth. All right, cool.
That's
so,
a truth.
We'll figure out the logistics of that more so, but I just want to confirm because I was like, if I have to give you guys your souvenirs like one at a time because of it, like it'll work, but it will be lesser,
no. That's wrong.
We don't do that here.
We don't do that here. But you know what we do here? We talk about media. So where should we? There's so much to talk about.
So I think it's only natural because Nathan has returned. Because Nathan, he did a double feature, Longlegs and Alien Romulus. And he apparently had some stuff to say about Deadpool and Wolverine, so I suggest that we let Nathan kind of lead the start of this before we get to the main event.
People did have to sit through 15 minutes of me yammering last week, so...
That's fair. Give me about, I'm going to say 5 minutes of yammering. And this is mostly just kind of... This is a character study in obsession. And I would say it's 50-50 being founded information and 50, speculation. But I'm building a narrative here, so bear with me for a moment. But,
okay, all right.
I want to take you back to... Shit, I should have looked this up. I was going to, and then I didn't. Give me just a moment. Let me just establish my timeline.
I'm going to pull up my letterbox while you do that, so I remember what I did this week.
Oh, I got.
Oh, yeah. I had some letterbox jokes waiting, but those are like spring traps that you have to wait till someone actually gets them.
Yeah. So I want to take us all back to.
I'm gonna rub chilies into your eyes.
I want to take us all back to 2003.
Oh my god.
We are in the pre-production stage for Blade Trinity.
Okay.
Ryan Reynolds is casted, and in order to inhabit the role in that movie, which is not something I looked up, he was told, "Oh, just read these Deadpool comics because the character is basically that." So he does so, and he falls in love with the character. He, immediately connects to it, obviously, because he's Ryan Reynolds. 2004, we get Blade Trinity. Everyone goes, "Oh my god, he was so good. He'd be so good as Deadpool." And he's kind of there in the background, kind of stoking the flame, like, yeah, wouldn't that be cool? We get to 2008, 2007. We're in the midst of beginning pre-production of launching the next phase of the X-Men series, the Origins anthology series, starting with X-Men Origins Wolverine. So Ryan Reynolds allegedly cashes in on a little opportunity with rubbing elbows with his buddy Hugh Jackman, says, "Hey, this has Deadpool, I'd love to be Deadpool." And so we see Ryan Reynolds gets to make his first on-screen appearance as Wade Wilson, and while he is great up until a point, ultimately, that version of Deadpool is a shit show, and everyone's like, man, if he could have been like the actual Deadpool, that would have been good. Mm-hmm. And again, he's kind of there going like, yeah, I wish I could have done more. And, very importantly, while there are technically two alternate post-credit scenes for Origins Wolverine, the more prominent one that everyone has actually seen is the decapitated body of Deadpool reaching out to the head, and the lips magically unseal, and he goes, shh, and it's like, see, we are gonna get another Deadpool. But lo and behold,
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I remember in theaters when I saw that, I was like,
I don't think I stuck around that long when I finished Origins. I was like, all right, what's next?
I don't blame
that
you.
Is wise. You could have also seen Logan in a bar in Japan, but I don't think anyone really did see that. I know it exists.
That scene has one of my favorite kind of bad lines when the guy says, "Are you drinking to forget?" and he goes, "I'm drinking to remember."
That's right.
I have to watch these. My video would have been so much better.
Yeah, really. So, alas, Origins Wolverine did not do well. Tanks the whole thing, so we do not get Origins Magneto. That instead is rolled into first class. We don't get Origins Gambit. We don't get Origins. I think they wanted one for Storm too, and the hype kind of dies down. And so Ryan Reynolds is like, "Fuck, I'm going to lose my opportunity." But during this time, over the next, I believe, 4 years, they still are kind of working towards it. This is when they create the test footage, basically the rough draft of the Deadpool car crash scene that we see in the first movie. And a couple years later, this gets leaked. Ryan Reynolds has gone on record as saying that only he and 3 other people would have had the ability to leak this. He claims it is not him, but I think it is safe to say it definitely is, because this gets released. Everyone goes, "Holy shit, Deadpool in movies would be great. Hey, we should definitely get this made." The demand comes back. Ryan Reynolds kind of reinserts himself in that sphere and goes, "Oh yeah, I'd love to do it if people want it." So Fox is flooded with this and sees all the requests, and they're like, "Okay, let's do it." And finally, boy oh boy, 2016, I believe, we get Deadpool in all its glory. Fantastic film, everyone loves it, it's what everyone wants. And of course, immediately, let's get that sequel out. And Deadpool 2 comes out, and it is still a hit, definitely still riding the wave from that first movie. But as time goes on, and the audience can kind of reassess and reflect, they kind of go, it wasn't as funny, but it was still pretty good. But then a couple years later, we get the signs that 20th Century Fox is winding down. Fox is more interested in their news and TV stuff. They don't want to really work in movies anymore. And so Ryan Reynolds is going, well, fuck, I want to do more. If they stop, I don't get any more movies. There's the rumors of the Disney buyout, and if that happens, absolutely it's a reboot, because why would the MCU bring in all this stuff? And so he's, again, getting desperate, wanting to ensure that he's able to protect this role, and lo and behold, he comes up with Once Upon a Deadpool, the PG-13 edit of Deadpool, to kind of go, no, see, look, Deadpool can work in the MCU. It's gonna work. And lo and behold, it's shit. No one liked it. Dark Phoenix, and I forget if it's Dark Phoenix or New Mutants is the actual last movie. I think it's New Mutants. But either way,
New Mutants came out after the buyout.
Yeah,
that's right. Yes, it was technically. Yeah, it was very weird.
Finished years before, but
Yeah, you know how it is. Amazed that it was released. But
if it was DC, it wouldn't have been.
Oh dear,
hey,
you're right.
We're not talking about Zaslav today.
All right.
Table that.
But we get the buyout, and this is Ryan Reynolds at his lowest, at his most desperate. His PG-13 Hail Mary didn't work. Again, hype from Deadpool 2 is kind of fading. We're about to get rebooted, so what does he do? What if I announce, instead of any sort of story concept or, hey, we're working on a Deadpool 3, let me just announce that I phoned in a call for my good buddy Hugh Jackman. We got Wolverine, and immediately it's relit. The passion's all there. Everyone's like, yeah, let's do it. While Disney has its, standards and practices, they also really love money, so they cave and they go, okay, we'll make an R-rated movie in the MCU to get Deadpool over. And the thing that's really interesting, that really kind of stuck in my craw about Deadpool and Wolverine, a lot did, but one of the things that I said before was that this really doesn't feel like the same Deadpool as the first two movies.
Fuck no.
And especially since they take him and they pluck him out from all of the characters that were in the first two movies that he's had time with. He just gets taken away from all of them and goes on this random adventure with Wolverine and, little MCU and throwback cameos and all this stuff. And so it's a huge hit. It's the highest grossing R-rated film of all time. And I feel like Ryan Reynolds has achieved it. I'm sure that in the next few months, we're going to see a contract announcement. Oh, I'm signed on for like 7 MCU films. And it just kind of feels like Deadpool and Wolverine, and especially since he did Once Upon a Deadpool, it really feels like he kind of sold the Deadpool film series up the river to ensure that he can still be Deadpool. He was one of 5 writers on this movie, and he didn't do anything to get, more Colossus, more Negasonic. It's just Deadpool. And, pair that with, like, in Deadpool 2, him, killing off Vanessa and all of that. It's just, I don't know. It just kind of comes off as, like, it's not the usual overt Hollywood ego coming into play, like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in anything. It's just fascinating to watch, like, the obsession that Ryan Reynolds has with being Deadpool. And, I'm very curious to see how much further it's going to devolve. But I just wanted to kind of outline all of the work that he has put in on screen and behind the scenes to make sure that he gets to be Deadpool. It's just very, it just came to me a couple days ago, and I wanted to, So thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
I'm sorry, I wasn't recording any of that. Could you repeat that? I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I'm going to rub chilies in your eyes.
No, you brought up a lot of good points, I feel like. I didn't even think about the idea that, like, he just made sure it was him and Hugh that are prevalent in the movie. And that's sort of like no one else really had time to, like, shine a light, and no one else is as important, basically, as Deadpool in the movie.
I also
Like,
as you were talking about this, I was also thinking about how there was apparently some kind of beef between him and Tim Miller. You know, they forged Deadpool 1, which I argue is the best one.
Yes.
But then as Tim Miller left, you know, you get David Leitch.
Which Deadpool 2 is very visually like the most visually appealing movie, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd say the first movie has some gray tone problems.
It's
gray. So, but you know, it's interesting that we get to this third one, and again, I'm sure the director's a nice guy. Like, hey, if he ever wants to work with me, and I'm not saying you're terrible, but he is isn't this the Yes Man guy?
Yeah, it's also
he's the date night guy.
He's Night at the Museum.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that sounds right.
It just seems to me that if you look at it, maybe this is just my perception. I totally acknowledge my bias here. It seems to me that as this has gone along, and obviously it's a different producers in charge once we get to Deadpool and Wolverine, but each movie had what I would perceive as a less strong director that Ryan Reynolds has to battle with for control over the property.
Well, and also thinking about it, does Tim Miller even show up at all in Deadpool and Wolverine? I don't think he's in those opening scenes with the whole crew.
He's excommunicado. He said a lot of shit.
Yeah,
I remember he said blatantly that he'll never work with Ryan Reynolds again.
Yeah, and I know also, I think Michael Bay hates him, so when he was in one of the Transformers movies, he just, like, killed him off in, like, a cut. Because he was like, I just want to get him out.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
He was like, get this guy out of here. And he's just, like, had him burned to a crisp.
Yeah, and again, I'm not trying to say that, you know, we don't know, so I'm not trying to say Ryan Reynolds, that Tim Miller is the put upon, you know, victim here. But it is interesting.
It's also interesting that this new Deadpool and Wolverine movie, like, his whole crew gets sidelined when, like, at no point does he, like, hop back to his world and grab them real quick and make sure they're okay, or like, hey guys, I'm gonna need your help dealing with this. Help me find a Wolverine, and you know, our universe is in danger. I feel like they would care about that. And also, it's like, you know, it'd be a team, but it would also mean having to pay those actors more than one day of shooting. So
that is true.
I get it.
Well, and the thing is, like, we do get the reunion at the end, so it's like, everything's back to normal.
That's
I
nice.
guarantee you, the next time we see Deadpool, it's just going to be him showing up in, like, whatever, Avengers, Secret Wars, or Apocalypse, or whatever the fuck. The next
I just had a horrifying prophecy of the future hit my mind. Do you know what it is? Think about this. Given Deadpool and Wolverine, Stan Lee is no more. What if Deadpool becomes the cameo machine that pops into every movie?
Fuck me sideways.
The kids today have no class.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying that's
a reference to a Stan Lee cameo in Uncanny X-Men. Ha. See, I read comics now, guys. I know things.
You've raised your stock immediately.
Yeah, I've been reading X-Men since making a video acting like I'm a fucking expert.
That's right.
Now you know the first time that he gets called Logan.
I do. It was by Leprechauns. That was crazy. I was like, what the fuck's happening? I was like, why does Havoc's family not Havoc, Banshee's family, A, have a castle, and B, it's full of leprechauns?
Because it's awesome.
It is awesome. And then Eric the Red and fucking Juggernaut shows up, and Storm's having a PTSD trauma event from being indoors and not able to feel the wind.
Oh yeah, I forgot that.
It's good. Magneto's a baby.
Magneto got shared this, or if I randomly spotted it online, and you know, as a weird, you know, commonality. But I saw a bit where I think it was from the comics where they're like fighting Magneto, and Xavier's like, I don't know how else I can stop him, so he goes into his mind and makes him relive the Holocaust. And it's like, oh my god,
what an asshole, dude! Comic Xavier is such a douche canoe.
Yeah, the thing is that Xavier has has this rep in the comics for not being very likable. It's kind of funny,
and
actually.
He has the shortest fuse, bro. Like every issue, Xavier's like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Yeah, his blood pressure is insane.
That's why his eyebrows arc so hard, because he's so perpetually annoyed and mad.
See, it makes sense that his half brother is Juggernaut, because like they share the same rage.
It does make more sense.
You're so right.
But yeah, I started reading X-Men. I started with, I think, the double X-Men edition, and then I like the Chris Claremont stuff, so I started from there. And I ignored the first like 90 whatever issues because a lot of sources told me to just ignore them, so I'm going to. And but it's great because now I get like, Logan, like Wolverine comes up for the first time, and like I'm getting I'm getting Phoenix stuff, and I'm getting all this cool shit. So I'm happy I started here.
You can always go back.
And I might.
Exactly.
I know there's I forget the name. It's like X-Men. Is it called Genesis? Let me pull up my app. Hold on, please.
Genesis.
Tales from Genesis Space. No, I'm kidding. Sorry, I have the Marvel. It's X-Men Grand Design.
Okay.
And it's like a couple of comics that like summarize like the older eras of X-Men. I thought about going through those for the first like couple issues because I tried reading a bit of them and they're very old and not great, but that's okay. That's fine. But yeah, I'm digging X-Men so far. It's really interesting to see. I'm trying to get more into comics and trying to do what I can. And also, since I made a whole video about Deadpool and Wolverine acting like I fucking know what I'm talking about, I feel like I should probably like do some research.
That's right. Yeah. And also, speaking of comics, we both have our pre-orders on the way for House of the Blood Axe.
Yeah, mine shows up today at some point.
Mine shows up tomorrow, so
next week we'll talk about it. But do we want to? Is that a segue for Rebel Moon stuff, or do you want to talk about the fact that my Deadpool video got like over 1,000 views and so many dislikes? So
I think it's fantastic.
DP.
Yeah, that video, I kind of, what's funny is that I've never done a video like that where I've scripted it beforehand and read the whole thing out as a script and then edited it like a typical video essay-ish video that you'd find. I've never done that, and it was a really cool experience because I sort of like what I said in the video was being played in my head over and over for like a week as I was thinking about the movie, and it really just was bugging me, like how the plot was structured, and it felt really good to get it out of my system and get it out there. And judging by the likes, there are some people who agree with me. Most people, I think, got 2 minutes in and was like, I fucking hate this guy. He's not praising the Corpo movie. I gotta go. But
I think you'll be vindicated in time with history. Mm-hmm. I think this is one of those videos where in 10 years people are gonna go, man, that guy actually was on point.
Yeah, it's like when The Witcher first came out, and I was like, this is bad, guys, and now it's like, he was right.
Now it's very popular to hate on The Witcher. Yeah.
Well, see, it kind of reminds me of, I think it's in his response video in Defense of Dark Souls, where Mahler's talking about like the video titles for H-Bomber Guy, where like the knee-jerk reaction would be the dislike and whatever, but then in the comments from people who actually watch the video, it's a little more positive. So
exactly,
I don't know what the like to dislike ratio is on your Deadpool and Wolverine. I assume a lot more dislikes than likes.
I could tell y'all like because they're fake. And if anyone has one of those, if anyone ever has one of those add-ons that will tell you the actual like the dislike ratio, that's also incorrect. That's showing you everyone else who has your add-on that disliked the video.
Oh,
they don't have
that's okay.
They don't have the actual numbers.
That's fair.
That blew my mind a little bit. Okay, that makes sense.
So it has 17 likes and 34 dislikes.
Yeah.
Beautiful. That's beautiful.
And I would say the
comments
are a little more 50-50. Like there's definitely those that are like, this is so dumb, including one of mine, which I tried to make as dumb as possible before people would start questioning it, but we'll see. I think I got some support, weirdly. Yep. But I think you also got a lot of people that were like, I was trying to put this into words and you got it, and like stuff like where it's like, I thought I was the only one. So,
yeah, that was great to see, honestly. I mean, it's, and also in the video, I mean, I maybe should have opened with the fact that I did enjoy the movie both times I saw it, but it worked it worked better for the flow of the video to have the punctuation be, and it you know, it kind of doesn't matter because it is just an excuse to have these two actors make a movie together and have fun.
You know, what I've learned with franchises is that time can heal all wounds, but it can also cause them to fester. And 10 more appearances of Deadpool and Wolverine being put in a really bad MCU storyline, you know, these opinions may change.
Yes.
The common consensus, but we will see.
I fully expect to see more Deadpool. I'm very curious if we'll see more Jackman Wolverine, because, you know, I know he wanted to be in like Avengers and stuff. And
why would I believe him after coming back from Logan? Like, I'm sorry, but now you have to re-earn the trust.
Oh yeah, of course.
Totally. If you say you're actually done, you know.
But that doesn't matter. He'll get the big Boku bucks and
exactly.
see the Wolverine costume.
Isn't it? And so the stuff I didn't make it into the video was Deadpool turning to Wolverine and saying, "Until you're 90," to this man who's 200 years old.
Well, it's meta because he's talking to Hugh Jackman.
I fucking hate you.
Yeah. Yeah, there it is. Also, I want to
shoot this motherfucker.
Thank you. I want to add my hot take here.
I wanted to play the Boogie video, but you guys won't hear it, so doesn't matter. The Boogie.
I'm in so much pain.
I'm in so much pain. I'm in immense pain.
So you know, anyone who is a fan of cinema knows that Logan is the perfect send-off for the character, and you're completely fulfilled and satisfied. But for the average fan of Deadpool and Wolverine, they got their rocks off going, oh, he's finally in the comic, you know, he's got the mask and everything. I just want to say something right here and now, on record, full blast. The Wolverine mask looks like shit in that movie, okay? And it wasn't worth it. Fuck you.
I liked it.
Well,
it's not enough for me to like come over, but I liked it.
I'll take the middle road. You know, it's got that it's this thing about the live action adaptation process where we want the eyes to move, but it's so difficult to achieve. Like the Spider-Man in the MCU has it, and Deadpool has it, and I think it's because Deadpool is more of a meta character or I don't know. It never looked that bad with Deadpool.
It looked bad when he first put it on. Then when they cut to probably the mask that's like the more action ready and stable one, it looked a lot better. The first shot was like, oh, and then I was like, oh, okay.
I was gonna say if it didn't have the first shot, maybe it would be like 10% better, but I couldn't unsee it, and I think they would have done better with a Batman approach where it's just, you know, black eyeliner, but we can still see his eyes. I don't.
Man, I have my psychic feelings are telling me dodgy CGI is going to come up again in this conversation. I just can't imagine where.
I don't know where. It might be in the Seneschal discussion. I gotta say,
maybe, that might be it.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
I will say a small aside. Speaking of superhero costumes, a fun trick I have for navigating Twitter. If you see an account where someone's like heartily debating how a superhero costume looks, I just block them.
In any medium?
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, no block. Like, you care too much about this. That's funny. They're like, this new Spider-Man outfit looks ridiculous. Look at this other one. And they both look like the exact fucking same, but like maybe like the like webs on this costume are like a quarter of a centimeter larger apart than the other one. and it's like slightly like altered here with the web. It's like, no, fuck you, like kill yourself, like get out of here.
But the one that has the closer webs, he paid $500 for the Weta Workshop replica, so that's the best one.
You're right. I'm sorry.
Well, at some point, we're going to talk about the crime that was the Disney Channel original show, American Dragon Jake Long art style shift in season 2, and you're going to know pain.
That's, you know what? That's different. And also, I just cried a little bit on the inside.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do
that to
bro.
You. All right. But let's move on to the Rebel Moon section of the video.
Yeah.
We spent too long on Deadpool. It's done. I'm never talking about Deadpool and Wolverine ever again.
Please.
It is dead. It's fucking dead to me.
That was great.
Thank you. All right, so we have Nathan technically has 3 weeks worth, but Josiah and I have 2 weeks worth of Seneschal episodes to discuss. So in the interim, Nathan missed the Mechanicus, but also there was a wedding surprise and episode 4 for Issa. See how they did that? Episode 4 is for...
I want to clarify something real quick.
Okay.
I didn't listen to episode 4. I've only listened to episode 3.
Damn. That's funny because I would say that
you didn't do any of it, did you?
Right now, huh?
You didn't do any of it, did you?
Oh no, I'm all caught up.
Oh, okay.
No, but I was going to say that episode 4 might be my favorite so far.
Really?
I liked it a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
Because we get the introduction of Bartholomew, who's the fucking goat of this series, even though he's just the narrator. But
yeah, it was nice to finally have him in the story proper.
Yes, exactly. And we get to have Adwin flashback to the first episode, which was cool.
Yes.
I can't recall having an audio series do a flashback to a scene, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah. But Josiah, basically episode 4 was all about Adwin and trying to earn back his spot as Seneschal.
Okay. Because given how episode 3 ended, I was like, if this is the end of his character, that sucks.
No, yeah. They immediately are like, no, Adwin has so much to do.
Okay, that's good.
Yes.
I will check out episode 4 then.
So
it starts with him drinking himself to death and being like, I've ruined everything. And I'm like, good.
Sweet.
Good. This is perfect.
Right, you son of a bitch.
Stay tuned.
But I guess we can just talk about our general feelings so far. I mean, I'm digging the Seneschal so far. It's not like I Love Bees level, but maybe nothing ever will be, and that's okay.
Nothing ever will be, but
it's really good.
It's very good, and I feel like a lot of my thoughts on it coalesced with this episode. One of the things that I've really been digging is the kind of synthy soundtrack. Like
I was saying that too. The score is really nice.
Yeah, it has such a distinct vibe from the movies, but it's like it's nice and adjacent, like
yeah.
They scratch a similar itch, but I do love that the Seneschal really kind of has developed its own aesthetic.
Yeah, and I gotta say, it's at hit the point now when I hear like the opening little ditty, I'm like, yeah, we're here, we're doing it.
Sing Evan sing.
Sing Evan sing. It's so good.
Boy, yeah.
I'm happy Bartholomew's in the story proper, and everyone's characters are taking really interesting turns. Like Raina's character is like fucking. This is insane. Like her character goes such a unique and weird direction that like is both like shocking but completely makes sense. I'm trying to be a little bit vague.
Sure.
For Josiah. So.
Well, because you've listened to the first 3 episodes, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so it's sort of like an expansion of her revealing herself to be the queen now.
Yeah,
and
I was curious how she how Adwin didn't recognize her voice, but
she disguised it.
Yeah,
she's also a witch.
Yeah,
that's right. That's true. Can't forget that.
Yes. That I feel that's what's great about the flashback in episode 4 is like I forgot they set that up so well in the first episode that she's like magic.
Yeah,
that was nice.
Well, it's funny because with each new episode, I had the benefit of going back and listening to the previous episode to, sort of jump back in. I didn't do that with episode 4, so I might have missed it, but the presentation of Rhaena as the new queen, the new wife of King Ulmer, made it seem like she was kind of like tricking everyone, like she had the veil, no one saw her face. But is there a scene where, or is it just assumed that Ulmer just knows that it is Rhaena?
Oh yeah, he completely knows. Yeah, he's totally.
Yeah, he's because there's this moment in episode 3 where he's like, "Oh, you don't know? Oh, this is fun."
Yeah, he's reveling in it.
Oh, that's right. I missed because when I got to this episode, minor spoilers, Adwin comes back and everything, and he's talking with Rhaena about it, and he's like, "What? You don't still have feelings for him, do you?" And I was like, "Oh shit, I didn't realize that you knew it was Rhaena," because they had this whole weird backstory about her being from this different planet and being ultra rich and shit like that.
And to be fair, like the first 24-ish minutes are just Adwin drunkenly trying to assemble a bot.
It's true.
And just getting visions.
Yeah, for sure.
And who was the guy? The vision thing was so weird to me. I was like, we're having a vision in an audio drama.
The Divine Blacksmith.
And the Divine Blacksmith. I was like, what's happening here?
That was a good, like, surreal moment of like, I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Yes.
But I like it, I think.
Her name is Polymedes. Polydamas. And he's basically the one that clues Adwin in on the Oracle Steel. Which is why the Jimmies are so, like, durable, is because the steel, like, is, like, sentient.
Yes.
So when Rhaena's magical heart is imbued into the Mechanicus with this like sentient metal, it creates like, it's why Jimmy in the movie like almost like reacts to the girl, I forget her name, because of the magic basically both in his heart from Rhaena and also that's breathing within the steel. It's very interesting.
Yeah, it definitely adds a special layer to it.
It's basically just a Star Wars ripoff. I mean, come on, this. Are we past this? Are we past this? Can we kill this, please?
No, they'll never live it
down.
Fuck.
Be like, that's when we pull up on them and go, someone hasn't listened to the audio drama The Seneschal.
You fucking nerd. Would you only watch the theatrical of the original 2 movies?
You fucking bitch. Just be like really like petty and like high and mighty about being Rebel Moon fans. Let's do it. Let's fucking do it.
Red House, the Blood Axe.
You dumb bitch. That was great. Man, that was fucking good. So yeah, Seneschal's really good. I'm excited to see how the next 2 episodes, because now we're into like the final act where shit's gotta go down now.
Yeah, this might be a hot take amongst the Rebel Moon fandom, but
all 5 of us,
Seneschal can, exactly, let me convene our meeting. But if the Seneschal can stick the landing, it might be my favorite entry in the Rebel Moon franchise.
Yes, I would actually agree with you. For as much as I like the movies, this is like pretty consistently good.
Yeah. And like I give a shit about all the characters, like,
and it's really digging into the lore, which the movies are. It's sort of like set dressing, but this is like, no, we have for Issa. That's why I want like the 3rd and 4th movies, because like it'll dip more into the lore that they're setting up.
Well, apparently, according to Zacky Zack, supposedly Bartholomew is going to be in movie 3.
Yes,
and he's chilling with Issa now.
I heard that. Yeah, he's the reason why Issa's still safe.
I'm fucking down. Which I was so surprised. Like, I thought this was going to come up in the director's cut, but I really thought that the farm girl who they were just going to reveal was the reincarnation of Issa.
I was also thinking that would be a reveal too in the director's cut, because I was like, but yeah, no, she's just, I guess maybe she has the blood of Issa, because as we reveal in Seneschal, the Jimmies are the reason why they stopped fighting the day Issa died. Which you don't say in this, this episode sort of sets it up why this happened in Rebel Moon, is because they lived, like, they were literally imbued by magic to fight for Issa. So for centuries they were protecting Issa's bloodline so she could come back. But then once she dies, that's when the Jimmies stop fighting, because they're like, well, what the fuck's the point? Our whole like directive for existence is done. So yeah, when the farm girl touched Jimmy's face in Rebel Moon, it was like, okay, is that Issa? But maybe she's like, I don't know, got some Omer blood because he fucked a lot.
That's true. That's a good fucking point.
Did a lot of fucking, that guy. Jason Isaacs, he fucks.
I can't believe that Rebel Moon is going to bring us the Robert Baratheon Bastards arc that the show couldn't do.
Yeah. You know? I hope we get flashbacks to Jason Isaacs in the third and fourth movie.
Oh my god.
Can you imagine? Great. Can you fucking imagine?
That'd be so good.
That'd be really great.
Like a speech he gives or something.
Yeah. Or like even just even like a shot. Like, because how in Rebel Moon proper, like we get kind of cuts to the king, but like he's not a major character.
No.
So it'd be funny if we also get some similar short just cuts just to Jason Isaacs.
No, once we get to movie 3 and we see Bartholomew, you'll just hear kind of like distantly as like a ghost voice, or just put it in the positions.
It's amazing. Yeah, like how Carrie Elwes is just like, it's they do him so dirty in the theatrical cut. That's why I like the director's cut, when his talk with Cora in the hallway is much more expanded on in the director's cut.
Because he fucking speaks.
Yeah, in theatrical, she just talks over him, and I'm like, I didn't even realize it was Carrie Elwes at first viewing, and I was like, what the fuck? So should we talk about the director's cut of Rebel Moon? Should we move into full-on director's cut land?
Yeah.
Are we done with the Seneschal?
I will sit back and snark a little bit, but that's probably.
Have you not seen it yet?
No.
Missing out on peak, but that's okay.
He's not gonna.
I haven't even seen the second theatrical cut.
Oh my god.
What? I thought we watched that.
No,
we watched the first one. Yeah.
Oh shit! All right. Well, fine. Don't watch the theatrical part 2, and then just watch the director's cut of it all. You'll be
no, he should only watch director's cut part 2 and not.
That's
there it is.
That's perfect. Your best bet at this point.
One thing I'll say is, originally, theatrical cut wise, I prefer 2 over 1, and now I'd say I prefer director's cut 1 over director's cut 2.
I would agree with that.
I flipped.
Well, it's funny.
So it sounds like the director's cut, in your estimation, was a much better boon to part 1, and part 2 it either just remained where it was, or
I'd say it bumped part 2 up like a little bit.
Oh yeah.
But it did way more improvements to part 1, because on part 1 now we have like way more lore and like the Rook Ali, and we have Carrie Elwes talking at all.
Well, what's funny is because on my second watch through, where I was actually able to thoroughly pay attention the whole time because I wasn't planning a wedding or moving or anything. But I would say part 1 fixes one of my big problems, ironically. Because I remember watching the theatrical cut of part 1, and the bit where Cora is just telling I've lost his name.
Gunnar.
Thank you. When she's telling him all about her backstory, I was kind of like, okay, this is kind of just lazy exposition that goes on for a little bit. ironically, with the director's cut, which adds so much more time to that flashback and everything,
yes,
I'm now able to kind of go, okay, this is kind of like a Berserk the Golden Age kind of thing, where, you know, we start at this one point and now we're getting an extended flashback. It's still lazily set up, but I now see it more like the plot point itself of her flashback and her past experience, I think is much better and works as a subplot instead of just being exposition that goes on for too long,
because it's more substantial and like it's more of a story that is told, and also it happens deeper into the movie, so it feels more like you kind of earned it, as opposed to last time where they cut so much of the they cut the whole opening and then they cut down on Velt. So having it be like maybe like 40 minutes, an hour in, as opposed to an hour and a half in, is a lot better. And also, it's more substantial.
Yeah.
And you get so much lore, the fucking murals.
Yeah, it feels so much less like, okay, let me tell you why I am the way I am, and more just, hey, let's actually, now that we've seen how she is now, let's actually see the journey that brought her here. And I'm like, okay, fine. That's a lot better.
Yeah, it is. I agree.
And the setup of the Kali and everything is like,
the Kali. I want the so much more. I want to know.
Yeah, the plot of Dark Souls 2.
What's that? Elden Ring?
Dark Souls 2 too. Yeah, both. Yeah. Well, more Dark Souls 2 because they have the golems
and made Dark Souls 2 too. Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And Shrek 2 Retold is coming out soon as well.
Shrek 2 Retold is coming out.
Yes.
Jesus. So, and also, everyone's most characters' introductions are expanded on. I don't think there's much new for Tarek in part 1.
No.
He's pretty much the same.
I would say the characters that benefit the most would be Korra and
Nemesis.
Belisarius.
Oh, yes.
Nemesis a bit too.
Yeah, there's a bit more to Nemesis now. I remember watching part 1, I was like, oh, she got cut the most, I think. And I was right. Yeah. She did.
It's true. And
I will say this time around in part 2, oh wait, Josiah hasn't seen it yet. Well, it's okay, whatever. He doesn't care.
No, it's all right.
When Nemesis dies in part 2.
Yeah.
Even before she died, when she got handed they're handing out like the blankets, like when the village makes them all the blankets,
and it's all it represents each of them.
Yeah, and the little kid who she's been bonding with gives her the blanket. I cried. I cried so hard. I was like, fuck, dude, because I knew what was coming too, and like because I'd had more time with these characters this time around, I was way more ingrained in everything. And watching it in like one giant watch through, it just fucking hit me, man. Like she wanted, like she got her life taken, like her family and her whole planet taken away, and she's finally kind of back to a semblance of that. And like, fuck, people dog on the slow-mo so much, especially the farming slow-mo, but like this is why it works. Because like they're bonding and they're finally creating life again when they've been like killing and having like taken from them by the Empire for so long, and having them like come together and grow together and literally grow and like harvest. It's just so fucking moving that like when people like just laugh at the slow-mo farming, I'm like, you're just, I don't know. I don't want to just outright attack everybody and say that they're soulless for not caring about that, but like, man. Like, how do you not get what's happening?
So I would say I'm going to come out and be a rare defense of Rebel Moon here. Obviously within reason. The irony about that is if you're being shown an image that is extended, it's because clearly the director is wanting you to feel something. And, the same as you would in a slower art house film, they may linger on specific elements for longer, and there, it is for a reason. So again, I'm not saying, that it may not be indulgent at points, but Except that there is a reason why, like you were saying, clearly the film is trying to tell you something about the act of growing things together as a community.
Yeah, like people are. I feel like a lot of people watched that scene and went, "Why are they doing slow-mo farming?" And they didn't ask, "Why are they doing slow-mo farming?" And like actually think about it outside of just trying to like clip it for likes on Twitter.
Well, and the thing is, like, you know, there's a lot to dog on with these movies. But
yes.
And Zack Snyder's filmmaking in general, but his visual aesthetic is not one of them. Like, that's kind of his bread and butter.
Yeah, that's like, the one thing that's sort of like, yeah, you know.
It's like, yeah, I think it's very solid. And obviously, like, when we first watched, we kind of laughed at like the very first slow-mo where she's like dropping grain onto the ground in like part one. It's like, yes. Oh boy, yeah, 4K soil.
Yeah.
But like, I remember back when Man of Steel was being made and finding out that it was Zack Snyder and be like, oh man, he's going to be able to do his like artistic slow-mo to portray everything so well, and then there's none of it, and everyone was like, why the fuck didn't you use slow-mo? So seeing it in the reverse now is like, what the fuck? Man can't win.
People, we'll talk about this later, but people are really fickle with what they want and what they don't want.
That's true.
But I would say that the director's cuts are generally, like, for the most part, a massive improvement. I want to have a discussion with you, Nathan, about one specific part of the movie that I feel like shouldn't have been in there still.
I think I know what you're talking about.
So one thing I do like is that they moved the scene from part 2 theatrical to part 1. And it was a scene where I remember when we watched the theatrical part 2, it was like, why the fuck did they wait so long to move Korra's ship?
Yeah.
So that being in part 1 was great. But one thing that is now in part 2 is at the end of chapter 1, because part 1's theatrical, chapter is director.
Oh, I didn't take note of that.
Yes, I'm 85% certain of that. And I'm correct, yes, because original is part 1, Child of Fire. Now it's chapter 1, Chalice of Blood.
Right.
So in Chalice of Blood, at the very end, they established that one of the Hawkshaws, one of the not Uruk-hai, is on Velt watching our heroes arrive home. And it's like, okay, interesting. And then in chapter 2, Curse of Forgiveness, the Hawkshaws are like sort of like monitoring them for like a few weeks and like reporting to the Empire. And Jimmy like knows they're there, but only waits until like the very last moment to kill them when he knows they're a threat the whole time. How did you feel about the whole Hawkshaws being like hiding above the town for like half the second movie? How did you feel about that?
It sucked.
Okay, thank you. All right, I was okay. Thank God.
It was weird to me because in part 2, when they're talking to Eris is the kid.
Eris, yes.
Eris. When they're on the dreadnought talking to him and he's giving their report, I believe in the theatrical they're just like, oh yeah, so he's bullshitting and like obviously he's defected, and it's like, well, yeah, it's fucking obvious that he's the only person they've been talking to. But
which makes more sense like, actually in this in the director's cut in chapter 1 when you have the first 20 minutes be Eris's backstory.
Exactly. Yeah. No. Again, massive improvement, but also because we've shoved the Hawkshaws in for whatever reason, that scene where they're pointing out that Eris is full of shit. They're just like, oh yeah, the Hawkshaws told us, and it's like, I don't think you needed them to tell you.
I don't think you needed them to tell you.
I think that would be apparent. And then yeah, they just sit on the outskirts and they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna keep giving our reports, and they just get murked, and it's like,
yeah,
why?
That's the one thing where I'm like, maybe this time. That's the one thing where I'm like, director, the actual cut's better. Yeah. I'd argue everything else is better except for why did you put in the Hawkshaws? I don't know.
It needed more for
Jimmy to do. Yeah, Jimmy to do. Yeah.
And they didn't have his action scenes finished by the time the theatrical was coming out. So,
yeah, but it's way better when given the context now that you know how Eris joined the Empire. them being like, oh yeah, he's bullshitting. That's like, you can extrapolate that as, oh well, like they know they know how they got him to be a soldier. They probably know that he's always not really been with one of the boys. He's never been into rapping, and
that's right. Help me. He's not a Ravager.
No, not at all. So that they probably sussed him out, but this is, it's kind of felt a bit pointless. And also, we still have the fucking backstory table. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Fuck,
one
man.
of the worst scenes in cinematic history.
Because I feel like you could shoot this motherfucker. I feel like you could have had that be sprinkled elsewhere. I thought for a bit they were gonna have Tarek's backstory be in part 1. Because
I thought so too.
But no, they just they talk about him being royalty. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like you could have also
thought, I also thought in the scenes where Nemesis was like bonding with the kid while farming, I was like, this would be a great place to have a flashback.
I was waiting for it, and then they didn't do it, and I was like, oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of time left for the table scene.
Yeah.
Fuck. Or when Titus is drinking, you have his flashback scene, or I don't know, have a shot of him waking up, sweating and going for the bottle. But the flashback was first, and he wakes up and he's like, my men.
Because if you're montaging them working with the village and all this stuff, and they're having flashbacks as they're experiencing it, I, as the audience member, can assume that as these, as time is passing and these characters are spending time and getting close together, I'm sure that they would have shared all of this. But I don't need the scene.
Actually, wait a minute. That's way better, even, because then the slow motion farming scenes are time slowing down as they realize the importance of what they're trying to protect as opposed to what they've lost. That would be such a better filmmaking element.
And they're purging the negative past through the act of manual labor, which is sort of how I interpret the scene anyway, but having you see their history. Maybe we can do our own cut. Let's do our
that's a fan of it. That's my anyway.
Yeah. So other than, that's why I think for me, part 1 went above chapter 1 went over chapter 2, is chapter 2 has the Hawkshaws and still has the table scene. So
I would also say one of the characters who didn't benefit at all from the extended version would be Noble. Because I've made this argument before, but he gets beaten clean at the end of part 1.
He does.
Kylo Ren?
Him coming back, yes, Kylo Ren, Noble Ren. And so him coming back in part 2 and being like, I'm gonna get you. There's nothing that has changed that you have done that would make me think, oh fuck, this time he means business. I'm like, you already lost, you know? And it's so weird because they could have added a little something because they mentioned that they used some energy from the Rue Kali to heal him and, bring him back and make it better. All you had to do was slip in a line that says, oh, he's stronger now. And, give me something. But no, he's just back. And it's like, well, I already know how this pays out.
Doesn't he lift the guy off the floor or something, but then he doesn't really use it again?
I just assumed he could do that in part 1.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, because he's already a mechanical a bit and strong.
Yeah.
It's also great in this, when his head gets sliced in half, you see that half of his skull is metal.
It is very funny that it is that instead of just a clean decapitation.
Yeah, because his head's sliced in half like it's fucking Fruit Ninja.
I assumed it was a Liza P reference, but No.
It is. Everything's a Liza P reference if you try hard
enough.
Hey Nathan, did you think for a moment in part 1 or chapter 1 when a certain somebody was running at the turret that maybe this time it would be different? when our boy Darian Bloodaxe was charging Excalibur style, did you also go you know what?
It was different. It was more definitive.
Yes, it was more. He didn't make it.
Yeah,
he didn't make it.
I was like, because in part one it's like, oh no, he's been shot, and then in, director's cut it's like, oh no, he's been liquefied.
Yep.
God damn it.
Fuck, dude, I can't wait for this book to show up. I get my boy back. I'm crestfallen, man. Honestly,
I don't know. To be like watching it, they kind of front load it because they almost always say Devra Bloodaxe and her brother.
They do. I guess I always just thought that Darian would be more important because it's Ray Fisher.
Yeah, I see what I would have done. My fan reshooting of Rebel Moon. He doesn't die. You have him join the team, and he sort of gets to buddy up with Titus, kind of take Tarek's role, where they're bonding over their, stuff, and then you can kill Titus, and then in part 2, and Darian's like, oh, no, you have the mentor dynamic, but But
I will say, I do, as sad as I am that Darian gets killed, I do think it's an interesting subversion that the rebel leader joins the cause and he dies, and now like one of his underlings has to be the main character now instead of him.
It's fair.
I do like that. I just also wish we could have got more Darian.
Supposedly one of the projects in the pipeline is an animated comic, which could be them just animating.
I was with you until you said comic. I know. That's like the worst animation style next to AI.
It is the worst. Hopefully, what they actually mean is an animated adaptation of the comic.
I'll pray.
I'll
pray to God.
We'll see.
But yeah, director's cuts are massive improvements. You get way more lore, way more character. There's still some problems. It's not perfect, and it's still a somewhat simple story, but I think the director's cuts show that there is more going on underneath the surface of Rebel Moon, and there's way more lore and mythos than I think theatrical was. Theatrical hinted at it, but this one really was showing it with the Kali and everything else. So I think that if Zach gets his trilogy of duologies, I think that going forward it could improve and turn out to be like absolutely incredible space opera grimdark.
Yeah, so like I would say like the director's cuts are definitively better. It's not in any way that would win over anyone who like fervently hates the theatrical.
Even though apparently it has, and I'm like, it's not that much different.
No,
like I'm on the Reddit and I'm on Twitter and people are like, this is such an improvement. This is now a good movie, and I'm like, okay, like I don't know about all that. Like I feel like it's not like it's a crazy difference.
I think much more improvements in part 1 than part 2, and I think the thing that really improved about part 1 is pacing, even though it is an hour and a half longer. So down to a structural level, it is better. But I think one of the things that also kind of pushes people away is looking back on it. This whole like original and Snyder cut thing was such a, I don't know, it just kind of a lazy and mildly insidious means of cashing in on the Snyder cut.
I think it was a misfire from Netflix. I think that they... Yeah. So the problem
huge mistake.
The problem with Netflix now is that they're such an analytics company. They're a statistics company that happens to make media. They're not a film or TV production company that distributes film and TV. They are a by the numbers. We want you to do something interesting at minute 13 because people fall off around this time with shows like this sort of company. So them being like, Zach, you want to have a shorter, not R-rated film because our analytics show us that doesn't do very well. And him like, monkey's paw of like, okay, I'll do it, but, and then he gets his R-rated, more like True Division cut. I feel like Netflix should have used their older release strategy idea of this will find its audience if we put it out, and not this like weird, we have to hit this age demographic because of our analytics, and we have to hit this number because of our analytics and this runtime for analytics. I just feel like it really hurt because if the director's cuts are what came out first and it was the only cut, I feel like everyone would be way more favorable. It would still have its like naysayers, obviously, but like it would not have the amount of like backlash that it does at the moment.
Yeah, and like, because it's weird because they wanted to recreate that controversy weirdly, where it's like now we're getting a definitive cut, so you already are setting up the PG-13 cuts for failure because you're admitting, this isn't really the version he gives a shit about.
Yeah.
So my hope would be if Netflix is still interested in pushing this. I don't know how it's doing numbers wise, but my hope would be if we get a trilogy of duologies that we can just jump straight to the director's cuts versions.
Please.
And not have
don't do this again.
12 films by the end of this.
I think that if Netflix wanted to, they can maybe do like a animated show or another show like set in the universe and do a more like PG-13 friendly thing with that to have maybe a younger audience. But like, I don't know, man. Like, I think you're hamstringing your the franchise you're trying to build, you know?
Yeah, I don't think that pulling your punches and making it more family friendly is gonna increase your audience substantially. I think your audience is Snyder fanboys, and what they want is the director's cut. So, you know,
give that to me, please. For fuck's sake. So next week we'll talk about the next episode of Seneschal, the 5th one, and then also we will have read the House of the Blood Axe comic. But that, I think, concludes our Real Moon talk. If you haven't seen it, I mean, I know we spoiled a lot of it, but not a whole lot of it. So I would go give it a watch, honestly. I mean, it's a new, I guess, license or IP or whatever you want to call it, in a genre that is typically all about sequels and reboots and requels and adaptations. So if you want more original cool stuff, you have to go support it, even if maybe it's not quite your cup of tea. It shows the numbers, people. This is what this is what you want, because everything's just numbers now. Everything's just about analytics. I don't care about actual creativity. It's just what does numbers. As we see from Deadpool and Wolverine, nostalgia and callbacks and yada yada. Which leads us to see that, boys? I could do it. Alien Romulus.
Hey.
We all saw it, right?
Of course.
We did.
Thank God. All right, so spoilers for Alien Romulus, probably.
Spoilers for every Alien movie. Let's just say that now.
Every Alien movie.
All of them.
All of them.
Because the movie is pretty much every Alien movie.
Well, okay, here we go.
No, I'm just saying, like, the references. There's continuity stuff that you need to have a knowledge in some essence of many of the movies.
I'd argue no.
Well, so I did a double feature.
Yes.
Longlegs and Alien Romulus.
Oh yeah, do you want a Longlegs for a second? I could change the thumbnail real quick. Okay, Longlegs first.
I just you know, I'll be kind of brief because really, I will say, watching both movies back to back, I kind of had a very similar experience. This kind of epiphany moment at like the halfway point of each, where I was kind of like, you know, this is a technically very well made film. You know, the editing is good, the visual style is distinct. You know, the performances are very good. I just don't really give a shit about any of them, any of the characters, the story. I'm kind of just you know. Okay. And again, I had that moment both with Longlegs and with Alien Romulus where I was like, this just isn't doing it for me.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I feel you more on Longlegs.
Sure.
I definitely also the Longlegs has soured for me in the weeks ensuing it.
I've heard.
Doesn't
the
help.
The first half is amazing in my opinion.
Yes, it is. It is.
After that, you know,
Not to dunk on Oz Perkins.
No, you would never.
But to dunk on Oz Perkins, he and again, death of the author. This stuff doesn't technically affect the movie itself because the movie is the movie. Sure. But Oz Perkins recently did an AMA, Ask Me Anything on Reddit, where someone was saying what I brought up in our discussion of Longlegs, where I was like, it doesn't really make sense that the other FBI agent would not bring up the fact that his daughter is born on the 14th, and that's the date that the Longlegs killer likes to kill people that are born on, and she's around the age that the Longlegs killer would go after her. And Longlegs has already targeted somebody in the FBI. I was like, that's kind of dumb. And then someone actually asked Oz Perkins, like, hey, why did the FBI guy not, like, why didn't he say anything about that? And then Oz Perkins was like, it's a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, man, you could just make up some bullshit that, like, the devil did it or something. You don't have to, like, admit that you didn't think about your movie for more than 3 seconds. Like, you could.
I think that's the thing, is the climax of the movie is very poor.
Yes, it really let down the whole everything before it.
Yeah, man, and like it really settled in after we had our discussion on the Shuttlecast, and as I thought about it more, is I kind of hate the whole person has a gun and they see someone approaching with like a knife and they're like, no, don't do it, and it's like, well, you know what they're gonna do, like you're gonna, and then they end up shooting them anyway. Man, it doesn't mean automatically it's going to be bad, but cueing the third act with a giant exposition dump explaining the twist, like not having our main character figure it out, that's just a poor mystery.
In an FBI detective crime thriller drama?
Yeah, and then just having her, this character become the new antagonist, and then she just dies, and then the movie kind of, like, the whole third act of the movie just doesn't work for me. Like when I think about the beginning, like the title sequence it's like Trap. Leading up to, it is kind of like Trap, actually. And like the whole, I think my favorite sequence is when she is in her house and Longlegs is around, and there's the empty space the door, showing the doorways,
the liminal space, almost
the liminal space. That stuff was like beautiful. It was wonderful. But then, yeah, after they kind of catch Longlegs, the movie deflates for me.
Yeah, I agree.
I saw all 6 appearances of the devil, and they were all very good. But that's it.
Yeah, I like the devil in the background.
I like the devil in the background.
I liked the devil when he was in the background. Okay, so Alien Romulus was a movie. I'll admit I hadn't seen any other Alien movie in fucking years, man. Like I saw, maybe it was I saw Covenant in theaters, and then I think I went home and I watched Alien, and then that was the last time I saw any Alien movies. Mm-hmm. So I was very disconnected.
That's fair.
From everything Alien. So I saw this movie, Alien Romulus, and I walked in and I was like, all right, this looks like it's going to be a return to form aliens on a spaceship and it's spooky movie. And I left and I was like, hey, that was aliens on a spaceship spooky movie. Cool. Okay. I'm very satisfied. I liked the movie a lot. I was very much like, okay, yes, that's great. There was like one line in the movie where I was like, that was not a great callback, but like, okay.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
and it was fun. What was funny too is that, like, this might shock some people, but when he said the line, "Stay away from her, you bitch," I didn't remember what that was referencing, but I could tell it was referencing something. Yeah. And then after the movie, I was on my way home and I was like, oh yeah, that's right, at the end of Aliens when she's in the thing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's like, I mean, that's like a cheeky callback, but also, and it was, delivered by a character who I don't think cursed the entire movie, been through a lot. I was like, all right, whatever. I mean, that's kind of like not great, but fucking fine. And I get home and everyone's like, this whole movie was just callbacks. And I was like, what the fuck? So I heard this so much that I spent the last 4 days watching Alien to Resurrection. And I watched Resurrection today.
Yay.
So I've been going through, because I remember that I'd seen the first two a lot, and then 3 and 4 I hadn't, because I think I was told that they were shit. They're not shit. They're not amazing, but they're not bad.
I think 3 definitely deserves some more love.
I think so. Yeah, I think 3 was
for being this just horrifically dour follow up to the Triumph of Aliens.
Fucking nihilistic, dude.
Yeah, for being like such a dark ending to a trilogy.
That's kind of why I loved it. I was like, oh, like once like you get past the opening where they kill off Newton Hicks off screen, it's like that's a bad taste in your mouth. But once you accept that, like, okay, whatever. And then we move on to the rest of the movie. If you can like put that away, square that in the back of your head. Wow, Alien 3 is really good. And then Resurrection was also like a lot of fun too.
Well, see, you just need to play Colonial Marines, and then you find out that
Nathan.
Hicks and Newt actually didn't get killed.
Oh, okay. I won't, but okay.
Oh, good for you. And how was it?
What's funny is that Resurrections, I was on my phone chilling as the credits were rolling, and I looked up at the very end, and it was like, play the game Alien Resurrection now. And I look it up, and it got delayed.
What?
Yes, and I looked it up, and apparently it was this movie tie-in game that got delayed for 3 years. So it's at the end of credits of the movie, but didn't come out for another 3 years. But I also enjoyed Resurrection. It was I liked
there's parts of it, yeah.
I like them finally getting their hands on the aliens and experimenting with them, and of course the movie has fucking Brad Dourif and Michael Woodcott and Ron Perlman. Like, that's the thing about 3 and Resurrections is like the fucking cast. Oh my god.
Stacked.
So
like Alien 3, fucking Charles Dance, Paul McGann. I'm like, oh my fucking god, dude.
Yeah, we're in it.
So now that I've watched the original 4, I definitely did catch more callback lines that were said in Romulus. But not any. But I'd say the elevator one's still the egregious one that I think is the one that's the most contentious because of how, like, very obviously out of place. Like them eating cornbread is, like, not a very, like, immersion breaking reference.
Nah.
Like, that's fine. Apparently,
No.
the person, like, in the opening of Romulus, one of the people has a little game system. Apparently it chimes game over, man. And, like, I didn't even catch that, so I can't even say if that really happened. But that's clever. It's in a game, and I'm like, you could, if you're charitable, you could say, oh, well, that's what they're referencing in Aliens is he played that game, maybe. Like, that could be, like, a cute little, like, it's not as bad as You're Alone, Han Solo. Like, it's not, we're not here, what I'm saying? Like, that's fine. I think for me, like, other than the elevator, I'd say the callbacks and references were not noticeable or bad other than the elevator scene. So I think for me, a big criticism that I've been seeing online is that this movie is just one big reference. And I'm like, I don't know about that. I mean, other than the fact that, like, they're on a spaceship and there's an alien that's trying to get them and Weyland-Yutani is being evil and experimenting on them, which is, like, I'd say more of a recurring theme of the series than a callback to any specific movie. But I think that Romulus was, like, really well done. Fede Alvarez knows what the fuck he's doing. I loved starting with civilian life. I thought our cast of characters were really, really fucking interesting, especially the main two, Rain and Andy. The other ones were, they were all right. The main guy, I forget his name, was the one that was with them for the most of the movie was pretty good too. You have an unaudible asshole character who gets his just desserts, which is great. And but I think the movie was really well structured, well paced. The scares were good. The third act is gonna haunt me forever. It was so fucking well done and chilling. And there was a lot of really good set pieces and moments in this movie, and I feel like it was all really, really well done. I like it a lot. And I wish I could call it my, like, number 2 favorite movie, but there's a thing in this movie. And I don't know if we want to get there yet.
I mean,
should we save that for the end? That's a whole thing. Should we just talk about the rest of the movie first?
Yeah, Nathan, tell us about your experience with, you said that you kind of just got about halfway and then it weren't invested.
Yeah, it was, it's hard to say, like, I feel like I don't normally have this feeling when watching movies, but every now and then I'll be watching this movie where it has felt like, oh, this is about to get real. It's that perpetual feeling of like, oh, this is about to get good, and you hold that feeling for like half of the movie, and then it kind of settles in of like, oh, it's not gonna, like, I'm not gonna get that hook. I think I kind of just hit the moment of like, I might be done with Alien. Like, I don't know if there's new Alien content I could enjoy, because funnily enough, to prep for our double feature, Katie and I watched the first Alien, and then we were gonna pick out a Nicolas Cage horror movie to prep for Longlegs, but the only one that was available on streaming was Dream Scenario, so we watched that.
Oh my god!
So I think. So Sal, you said you watched the Alien movies after Romulus, right?
Yeah, I went home that night and then started watching Alien.
So this was something. This was like possibly a little plot hole, but maybe there's something that covers it.
I got you, because I've now they're all four are fresh, just not the David movies.
Cool. So let me put this out there.
Okay.
So Alien Romulus takes place 20 years after Alien.
Right. So that'd be like
Aliens takes place 57 years after Alien.
Yeah.
The whole time Ripley has been frozen and drifting in space and only gets found then. So in Alien Romulus, they pick through the wreckage of the Nostromo and they find the weird space cocoon that the xenomorph was able to make for itself.
Yes.
And they mentioned something about how there was only one survivor on the Nostromo. How do they know that?
How do they know that?
I don't remember them saying that.
They definitely did.
They probably did. I just don't remember them saying it.
I definitely trust you. Rook talked about how because he was like recounting what happened with the xenomorph and how they got it and everything, and they were like it killed all but one survivor of the Nostromo, and I'm like, how the fuck? Like, because in my mind I was like, okay, I remember at the end of the movie she's like making a log, but I think that was just in the shuttle that she was frozen in. I don't think it was in the Nostromo and left anything that they could find. So that,
or there's a potential that they there could be a potential that they, I mean, I'm not gonna, this would be kind of writing for the movie. They don't they don't explain it themselves. If I'm to guess, to be charitable, they might have like again, not in the movie, but they might have like found everyone's corpses and been like, okay, we're missing one, and there's one life shuttle assumption missing. So that might be it.
Here's where I become a real nerd. There is a novel and audio drama adaptation called Alien Out of the Shadows, where Ripley has an adventure in between Alien and Aliens, and she actually runs into an old enemy, Ash, who has survived in the computer and tries to basically acquire the xenomorph again.
Is this Out of the Shadows, Understanding Sexual Addiction by Patrick J. Carnes? No, this is a different book.
No, but you do kind of understand sexual addiction when you see like the xenomorph's appearance.
Right, I gotta find a different source for this.
I thought it was TMNT 2, Out of the Shadows.
Right.
You would think so, but no. So again, that was claimed to be canon before the buyout. I don't know if it still is.
Okay.
But anyway,
so you're saying that they're digging into this forgotten novel. That makes sense.
Perhaps. Because,
God, another callback, Romulus. Stand on your own fucking two legs, why don't you? Jesus Christ.
On your long legs.
On your long... I feel like Alien Romulus delivered on the long legs promise better than long legs, but anyway.
I mean, given the offspring at the end, yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so maybe they found to be charitable. They might have like just done a check of all the corpses, ran it against the crew manifest, and been like, well, yeah, missing one shuttle, one body's not here. Safe to say that's our person, but they're so far out. And they've been traveling for, 10, 20 years. Who the fuck knows where they are, if they're even alive?
I think my big issue with the setup is the fact that, look, I understand the xenomorphs are powerful, but I have to draw the line at it surviving in the vacuum of space for 20 years. Like, that's pretty absurd.
That was very funny.
See, at first I thought it was like in an asteroid.
I did too, but it seems to be like the same process with which they make the hive in the ships. Yeah, it made a cocoon, and somehow, even though in space things stay at the velocity they are when they enter space, it being blown away from the ship, it's just nearby now for some reason, and they find it. Which, you know,
see,
gravity brought it back together.
You see, the shuttle blasted off from the Nostromo and went a ways, and then the Nostromo exploded, and then the Xenomorph got poofed out by the shuttle towards the wreckage of the Nostromo, and then reunited, and it feels so good.
Obviously.
Gotcha.
You fucking fake nerd.
Yeah.
That's in another novel. You should have read that one.
See, I've only read like 3 of the Alien novels.
It's in the Alien Romulus prequel comic.
Gotcha. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Which I did not. It's a real thing, and I did not read. So maybe there's actually answers in there.
Yeah, fair. I didn't know. Oh, also, I know you're waiting to watch the David movies, but yeah, you have to make sure. Well, I don't know how much you have to make sure. It's not like essential.
Oh, and I'm watching the TED Talks.
Oh, good. You should watch that. And then there's also some of them are good, some of them are okay. The 40th anniversary short films. And yeah, and then Alien Monday was that fan-made anime that came out, and it's really just saying.
I gotta watch that too. Yeah. I'm just waiting for the husband to watch the David movies because Michael Fassbender. So
yeah, he's great.
Yeah,
no, that's fair.
But yeah, Romulus. I think part of the setup that I think is sort of a gimme is the fact that the spaceship is hovering above the planet, and no one sent down anybody. But then you can also make that a double thing of like, well, the company just cares about making sure the mining goes on time. They don't care about anything up there. Or they maybe, that was the thing where I was like, why has no one checked out the ship yet up there? All right.
Yeah, I assume. Yeah, I don't know. That's something that I gave the movie. I let it go.
Yeah. You could say that Weyland-Yutani on the planet, they're so focused on the profits that they're like, we're going to ignore that. That's not making us money. Or they were told, hey guys, there's a ship here, and then the company could have been like, all right, we're sending out a rescue team to go to the ship, but it's taking them time to get there.
Well, the weirdest thing is just that it is a Weyland-Yutani ship.
It is,
so,
yes.
It'd be one thing if it was like some random vessel, but like the fact that it is one of their like weird research stations.
But Nathan, isn't every ship a Weyland-Yutani ship?
Probably.
Kind of, yeah.
You know, I guess.
There's no other corporations, anyway.
But I agree. I gave that to the movie. I did like the setup of, okay, we need to get these cryopods so that we can get the fuck out of here.
Your required work hours have been doubled. The company thanks you.
God damn it.
I was like, God damn it.
It's also so funny, like the opening sequence of going through space and like going through the ship. Obviously, I knew beforehand, but just the way that was edited, I immediately was like, "Yep, this is a Fede Alvarez movie." Like it just, like he has that very distinct, like atmosphere build that I was very drawn in right away.
And the dude lighting the cigarette with the thrust up and the flame going up was so fucking awesome.
That was pretty fun. And then like insta smoking a whole joint. I was like, oh god.
Yeah, because God, that's great. That's some. I love when people fuck with like space like that and like space travel.
Yeah, play with it a little bit.
You know, I was thinking about the movie, and overall, I think I really enjoyed it too. There are some things weighing it down, but I would say this is probably my. Right now, it's hovering at it's at my 4th favorite, but it might.
Is 3 3?
No, so my ranking is actually, if you want to know, I'll just tell you. So it's Alien.
Why did we start with a tier list and fight? God damn it.
We should have. We can still do that now. I mean, but my ranking is definitely Alien original, Aliens, then Prometheus actually. Then this movie right now, and then Alien 3, Alien Covenant, AVP, Alien Resurrection, AVP Requiem.
That's fair.
I'd probably mostly agree, although I think I would put I think I would put Alien 3 above Romulus, and probably you have Resurrections above AVP.
I have it above AVP Requiem. I don't. Okay. I definitely need to revisit 3 and Resurrection because I feel, and Covenant actually, because I feel like those 3 need some reevaluation for sure.
Like I'm
making you have Covenant above AVP. I might have AVP above Covenant. I need to revisit it.
I can't do that because the David stuff in Covenant is too good.
That's fair.
It's actually phenomenal in some parts.
But we get Lance Hendrickson
hey, and you know, it's funny you mentioned that because I figure we should just get into it now, and if we talk about other parts of the movie.
I just want to say that the movie has a lot of. Okay, wait. I just want to say that there's a lot of good set pieces, like using the temperature to distract the facehuggers. I thought a lot of the sets and the practical effects are really well done. Especially the offspring at the end was very fucking well done and very fucking creepy. The shot where they cut and he's just like in the doorway, camera right, and there's no like music sting. It's just like, it's like,
that was good.
I hate. A lot of times when a movie has a jump scare like that and there's a sting, I'm like, fuck you didn't need that. This movie did not use it, and it was so much more effective because it's like if you didn't realize it was happening at first, and then your eyes adjust and you're like, like it's not like you're noticing, and that's even worse because you feel like no one else is noticing, even though everyone's noticing it. It's way better than in your face, even though they do a good in your face one later. And yeah, just the design was amazing. And also the fucking score for this was like one of the most like, I feel like a lot of movie scores recently are not very prominent when I watch them. This score was like in your fucking face and I loved it. It was like, it felt like an older 80s, 90s score than like a modern horror movie score.
Okay, I'll definitely agree with you there. It doesn't feel modern. Obviously, this is not its fault because it's competing with giants, but I do think that this is a score I didn't really notice musically, as opposed to some of the other Alien movies. But it's definitely better than most modern horror scores for sure.
Yeah, I feel like you're contemporaries, and also it's the guy who did the fucking. I think he worked on Blade Runner 2049.
He did. Yeah.
So, and Hypo Creation too.
Yeah, I think that I also don't super recall the score, but I do agree that I really hope that we start moving away from this weird like atmospheric, this could be, you know, heard in the world if you don't want to think about it too much kind of scores, and go back to like, let's have some like classic orchestral pieces, please.
It's so hard to like blend. Like, I listen to a lot of, like, scores and soundtracks, and it's hard for me to find new ones that are good. I'm always going back to older stuff to add to my playlist, because the new ones are very much, like, they're just sort of there, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, I'm sure these are fine in the scenes that they're played in.
But then you take them out, and you're like, all right.
It's like,
yeah, for sure.
But, yeah, I'd say, yeah, big praise overall. I feel like this was just a very back to basics, like, let's bring this back to, like, you know, small cast, smaller location, because the Alien movies get like bigger and crazier as they go along, and this is a nice like, let's bring it all back to, let's do the Riddick of the Alien series. Let's go back to what we all know and love. We'll sprinkle in some of the more like higher thinking stuff from the Prometheus Covenant stuff with the like, oh, the company wants to create the perfect life form, you know, but you know, we're bringing it back down. I think this is a good reset for the franchise if it wants to go further from here. I think this is a decent start, but Josiah, you had a question.
No, so this is kind of related to that discussion about a fresh start. Why, when Lance Henriksen is alive and Michael Fassbender is alive, why did we have to recreate a dead actor with ghoulish CGI?
Well, you know, the A2s are always a bit twitchy. You know, we fixed that in later models. You know, they're not like that anymore. So it wouldn't have made sense if it was Lance Henriksen.
But no, it would have, because it would have been a subversion.
And why did it look like that?
Okay.
I thought we were to the phase where, like, you know, creating Frankenstein CGI abominations was at least getting good.
So here's the thing. I'm gonna let you go off, Sal. But so I brought this up on the fictitious dark coverage of this, but even if the CGI was perfect, this would still be ghoulish and weird. I don't like that. Okay, it's one thing for a family to like profit off the existing image and works of an actor after they're gone. Like that's totally fine. Like, but the fact that the actor can't consent to being recreated for performances in whatever quality movie till the end of time is very uncomfy.
So, all right. So, the way this effect was achieved was using a lot of different, basically modes of art. So it was a animatronic Ian Holm head that another actor performed, like I think some of the face and also the voice, and then they used Ian Holm's face to merge onto the animatronic, and then they used like generative AI to mix the new actor's voice with Ian Holm's voice. Now, typically, generative AI is bad. Now, why is generative AI bad? So it is generating something new out of something that already exists. It is taking art that already exists in whatever facet it may be, whether it's like a physical, not physical, but a visual thing or an audio thing, and making a new thing out of that. So 99% of the time, this is bad because the artists that it is generating AI from, they can't consent to their works being used in this data set. So they scrap the internet for art to put into their machine, and it pops out the image, right? One can argue, though, that this is like the one, you could say, sort of technically ethical case of generative AI, because it's done with the consent of Ian Holm's widow and with his estate. So it's like they okayed this happening, his appearance in the movie and the use of AI with his voice. They okayed it. They said that they were thrilled to do it. They know that he would have wanted to come back if the opportunity presented himself. And apparently after the Hobbit films, this is all according to Ian Holm's widow, that he was given the cold shoulder by Hollywood and didn't get any work after that. And I always felt like he was, cast out. So this is them like, it's for the widow and for Ridley Scott to pay homage to his friend, for the widow to see her husband finally, in something that he loved. Because, probably I bet that Ash was a character he loved a lot. And also, they probably benefited from this monetarily. And also, it's nice to have this for their family and for their estates. Now, the effects at first looks like shit. I would say as he stabilizes, it looks better. Then when he's on the monitor, it looks actually pretty good. Now,
I would mostly agree.
Yeah, there's definitely when he's on the monitor, I'm like, oh, thank God we're not looking at him anymore in real life. Like, he's on the monitor, the fuzz is covering up anything bad. Maybe he should have been on the monitor the entire movie. Who knows?
Honestly, yeah.
Because it's like, oh, this is fine. Okay, because he's stable. It's like a fucking like Fallout 1 cutscene. It's great. So, yeah, there's the ethic question of like, okay, why did you redo? The actor can't consent, right? So this might be more of a general question. So like, it's not okay. And I just want to start a discussion. I'm not saying this is my opinion. So when an actor dies, the estate is now in control of their everything, right? So if an estate says, okay, this is like a good example where it's like, okay, Ridley, you were, I'm sure the wife and Ridley are friends. Ridley was friends with Ian. I say these names as if we're on a first name basis. It's okay if you want to use this, but then the question becomes, this is fine in this insular incident, right? The question's more, but how this gets bad is when you look at the grander scheme of like, okay, what's going to happen in 50 years when Ridley Scott's dead and Ian Holmes' widow is also dead, and now we want to bring back Ian Holm for a movie then. But then you think about it like this, and it's like, okay, but if an estate, let's say, we have the Tolkien estate, right? And they can give the works, the writing of Tolkien to anybody who pays for it. Should they be allowed to do that too?
They're allowed to do it, but it's
in the first place.
They're allowed to do it, but it's deplorable that they are shitting on what Christopher Tolkien tried to achieve. But yes, I grant you, legally they are allowed to sell the rights because it is held by an estate.
Right. So should the same be applied to an actor? Like if
I just think it's different to. I think it's kind of different when it. I don't know. Maybe I'm off base, but
is it because it's someone's face as opposed to someone's words?
So James Earl Jones signed away to Disney the rights to his voice for use as Darth Vader. He consented, which is different. Now, going forward, actors should all include a clause in their will regarding this. Probably, but the actors who weren't able to, now that's where it's like sticky, I think.
Okay, because you can argue that.
I'm sure Ian Holm would have come back to do this, and he would have loved to do it. But for example, like, we know that there's situations where people, like, let's say, I don't know, Britney Spears, like, her shit was held down by a conservative ship by her parents, and they basically used her to make money. Are they allowed, because they're her family, to use her image for additional AI performances for all time? Like, if she dies for some reason and they're still around, you know?
Yeah, I guess legally, but we could still hate it.
Yeah, I really do. Yeah, I really do think that writers and actors and all artists going forward need to be very mindful about who they are entrusting to, sort of be the custodian of their legacy, because I'm sure, again, if all of this had been discussed beforehand and, AI and motion capture and, facial recreation was more of a thing and was like in contracts and everything, I'm sure that, Ian Holm would be like, okay, yeah, sure, you can do this, or in his will to his wife can say, hey, you have the rights to my likeness, you can do whatever you want with them. The scary thing is, like, I just don't know how long that's good for, because, like, we kind of eventually, his wife passes away, if they don't have kids or anyone that they're directly giving the stuff to, it all goes to an estate, and the estate is always going to go, all right, well, what's a fair price for you to use this? And there's no concern with, like, is this paying respect to them? Like,
it's one thing when it's Ridley Scott, who was probably friends, and then his wife all coming together and saying, okay, like, we're gonna do this to as tactfully as they think that they're doing, with good intent. But who's to say, and like, I'm not saying this, but hypothetically, Ian Holm could have a shitty kid who's like needs some money, and it's like, fuck it, if you want to do Alien 17, go for it.
Yeah, that's my point. Is like, so I guess what we're coming down to is like when you sign a contract as an actor and you're giving away your appearance in the work that is shot, so you're giving away your likeness within the footage that is shot. Now, that makes sense. Like, if they want to reuse that footage for other projects, they are totally able to do it because you are consenting to them using what is filmed.
Yeah, like if they had used like Ash's audio logs he recorded during the first movie.
Oh yeah, that's totally moral and legal, because he allowed his performance to be used for that project, which the project is owned as part of this company. But it himself as a person, does that mean that use my likeness means you can use the elements within to recreate artificial performances? I think that's where we're at. That's the question.
If you write a book in like 1910 and you're not thinking about, like, that in the future, okay, if I ever die, this property goes to my estate, and then they can do whatever they want with it to benefit off of my work, right? That as like a writer. But as an actor, like, Ian Holm probably had no idea that what would have been possible in a few years, right?
Yeah.
So it's doubtful that he ever knew to even, like, like you said, put a clause in his will to say, I do or do not approve of this. And it's like, it's, and we think of like media too, like, you can't make a Lord of the Rings thing without the approval of the Tolkien estate. But it's gonna hit a point where Lord of the Rings, and I'm just gonna bring that up because it's the most easy to use answer. But it's gonna hit a point where that's gonna become like in the public domain. Does an actor like, can I in a couple like years use AI Cary Grant to star in my new movie?
Yeah.
Well, here's
like what's like does an actor's appearance have a, you know what I mean?
So imagine, so it's fine for the estate to sell the rights to make adaptations of Lord of the Rings, but can they use AI to analyze all the words Tolkien ever wrote and then put out new books by J.R.R. Tolkien?
Yes.
That would be the equivalent. Is, oh, J.R.R. Tolkien wrote this. Well, he didn't, but it's generated by his own words, so don't worry about it.
See, I think that going forward, as far as the right to an actor's likeness, I would say maybe there should be something like that, like copyright law, but in reverse, where like for the next, definitely not 100, which is how copyright going into public domain works, but maybe like within the first like 10 or 15 years following an actor's death, you could buy the rights from, or the estate is able to give out the right to use the likeness, and then after 15 years you're just not allowed to. At that point you have to use existing footage or, you know, something else, because again, like in 100 years I don't want to see, you know, Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man in Avengers 38. You know,
we're all in our pods, we're hooked up and we're like, fuck, they brought him back, god damn it.
No, even worse, it's him as Doom Man, and he's the universe fusion of those two characters.
Iron Doom.
Oh no, tremendous pain, I want to die, help me.
But anyway,
but the real question is, man, okay, so like it sucks because
so my thing is, like, again, like, let's put that aside. Lance Henriksen is still alive, and I know he's gotten a few shots more than Ian Holm got, but also we could have changed this to where this is David and his space station and wrapped up the prequel trilogy.
I'm sure Ridley was like, don't use David, I have an idea, please. If this makes money, I could do David 3.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it is.
People have also said that the next movie might be like a half Rain Andy, half David thing.
Well, because before the Disney buy and everything, there were rumors of, the next one's gonna be Ripley David, and it's like,
I feel like it couldn't have been Bishop because, again, I just rewatched Aliens, and he even says, like, you know, because Rook in this movie is like evil, kind of like how Ash is evil. So, but you could have just had a new actor, or honestly, I know that they had an animatronic of Ian Holm. I kind of would have preferred that because, like, in Alien 3, it opens with a animatronic Bishop head, and that works because it's a robot who's so destroyed. Having it be animatronic almost sells the effect of like, oh, the robot's so dysfunctional, they don't even look human-like anymore. They look like a robot again.
Yeah, I love that scene in Alien 3.
Yeah, it's great. I wish they did that with Ian Holm, because I'm like watching it and I'm like, why isn't this an animatronic? Why is this a weird CGI AI fusion? And then hearing that they had a fucking animatronic on set, I want to look at that animatronic because I'll be more mad if it looks good. I'll be more pissed. I'm like, hey,
it'll be
guys,
like Thing 2011 again.
Oh my god! It's like, hey guys, for the Hulu release of this, could you just like take off the CG layer and just show me the animatronic? Please?
No.
All right.
But it should have been his name is Rook because there's also Bishop and it's chess pieces.
It's cute.
And there's an alien queen.
That's right.
But this should have honestly been another Andy bot.
Yeah.
With
because the whole thing is about Romulus and Remus.
Yes.
Like, it's the whole title of the movie. It's about the brothers. Come on.
But you see, Andy is Romulus and Remus because he has his original coding.
Yeah. Yes. I know.
Yes.
Do you think
it's
that
like Black Swan? You see?
Do you think
shit.
Would you be surprised if you found out that a draft of this from the writers had him be an Andy, and then Ridley Scott was like, hey,
because Ridley wanted it to be another Ashbot. So yes, I do believe that it's a Ridley Scott change. Probably
that's like a tinfoil, because I'm like, that would make a lot of sense because it's called Romulus, there's Remus, and they try to make it work by having Andy have the two personalities in his body throughout the movie, and the actor does an amazing job at that. By the way, the actor's fucking like, this guy. Put him in more things, please.
The whole cast.
Not to mention the cast, but the person who the main character, Rain, she was also in Civil War that I saw this year, that came out this year.
Right.
So she was good in that too. Yeah, Civil War's a well-acted movie. I just wish it said something other than war is bad.
I haven't seen it. I do want to.
Hey, I'll show you the movie.
I'll show the meme.
I'll show you the movie right now. Do you think that American Civil War would be pretty tragic?
Probably.
Yeah. You just watch Civil War.
See, it's a movie about war, but it's also a movie about civil. So
yes,
I just know the meme that gets passed around where it's like Star Wars fans trying to talk with other ones where it's like, don't worry, we're Star Wars fans, and then it's the guy with the gun who's like, what kind of Star Wars fan are you? And
definitely the best scene of the whole fucking movie, by the way.
I believe it.
It's funny that it really peaks at that scene. But yeah, Kaylee Spanny, she was apparently also in that Priscilla Elvis movie. She does not look recognizable at all. She's got one of those chameleon things going on. She can kind of be anybody.
It's the Tilda Swinton until you recognize Tilda Swinton, and then you can kind of see through. But
yeah, sorry, Sean's messaging me a bunch of Instagram reels. Let me mute my phone.
Okay.
But yeah, I think they're both really. The two leads are both really good in this movie, and I also liked. Someone on Twitter was ragging on this movie for having a young cast of not like, you know, because all four of the first ones are like character actors that you kind of recognize.
Yeah.
But I kind of liked how Romulus was like, it's a bunch of kids who don't know what the fuck they're doing, and they just want to escape Weyland-Yutani, and oh my god, now we're having to like run away from aliens now. I liked it. I thought it was really good.
Well, and I would say that like I would say Andy is a good character actor. The main guy a little bit. He's got some extremes. I will say, out of the whole cast, I did fucking hate the pregnant girl and the asshole character, and not like go away Heat, like not like, oh, you're supposed to not like him. I was kind of like, no,
it's in a fucking war. It's in a fucking war.
It's
I couldn't understand him for most of the movie, and look, when he died, I was kind of happy.
I'm pretty familiar with British accents of all types, but his was very thick.
Yeah,
it was very thick, and then the sound mix, I was like, I kind of was like, oh, he said something xenophobic towards Andy. Okay, that's all I need to know.
Yeah.
Wait,
Nathan, you didn't like Dora and the Last City of Gold?
No. I don't like characters that kind of just bumble in order to allow the plot to continue. You know,
I think it was funny how abused she was throughout the whole movie. Fede Alvarez, I think for the two films I've now seen of him, always has a character that he fucking hates. And I thought at first it was gonna be something in the water guy, but then it turned out to be her, because she gets like, she's pregnant, she throws up, and then like she like escapes, and she like falls out of the fucking ship, and then like she gets stalked by the thing, she gets stabbed, she gets drawn up, and then she's like running away.
She gets breastfed.
Oh my god, like she goes through so much. I think it's I love it. I love that every movie so far, Fede has one character he's like, you're gonna suffer so much.
So what did you Sal, you've kind of talked about it. I want to hear kind of Nathan's take, because I actually found it kind of interesting that the offspring looks more like an engineer than a human.
I popped for that so hard.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if it makes sense, but I popped for it.
Well, we were made from engineered DNA.
I forget all about that. I'm not there yet.
When you get the Prometheus, you'll understand. But so.
So in like the lab scene where they're like, look, we made the miracle goo from the aliens, and then it's like, and then it has like the little diagram where it's like, oh, it's the jar from Prometheus, it's
that the Prometheus mission,
you know, and the Promethean fire, and it's like, oh boy, yeah. So like it was weird. I liked the design of this human alien hybrid more than the resurrection alien hybrid. So you know,
the resurrection one's so like sad and pitiful, and I feel bad, dude.
It's like a pug.
I feel so fucking bad, man.
It's true.
I was like, fuck.
It's not your fault.
I was like, I'm sorry, man. You don't know what's going on. You just woke up.
When he gets sucked out, it's like, how can you not feel bad for this?
I'm with Ripley.
Bastard?
I'm like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
for real.
Oh god, dude, that was so fucking depressing.
But yeah, I don't know. It would have been interesting. I think I would have liked it more if it wasn't so outwardly malevolent. Like at least to his mom. Like have some. But he's so like gleefully like, I'm gonna kill you, and I'm like,
yeah.
Well, there could be some moral ambiguity as to this thing is an abomination that probably will kill me, but it's not like immediately going for it. But they kind of take that away by just immediately making it just a killer.
Yeah, it does kind of remind me of how in Prometheus, the engineer is just like a psychopath.
Yeah,
he just chases after Elizabeth.
I remember that. He's like, "What's this guy's fucking problem, dude?"
Yeah, it's because we killed Jesus. Never mind. That we don't have to talk about that. Oops. Okay. Yeah, it's funny because I thought The Offspring worked pretty well. I thought it was a nice I was kind of, let me just be frank, I was glad that we had a triumphant ending and we didn't have another alien ending where like, don't let the bed bugs bite.
Yeah.
As she's in the cryopod and they don't even know. So I'm kind of glad that we dealt with that now.
They're on their way to Uvega. It's going to be great when they get there. Don't worry about it.
David's going to be there.
Fuck. It's his farm.
Yeah, he's like, I'm so glad you could join me.
What's funny is
I'll do the fingering.
The vibe I got, and I don't know if you guys agree, but after watching it, I was like, this movie did a pretty good job of making the face huggers terrifying, but I was not at all scared when the xenomorph showed up. I think because it I feel like as soon as the xenomorph showed up, they also were like, okay, now we're armed. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so the only people that it was left to stalk were the two characters I didn't give a shit about. So I was like, oh, well, whatever.
I liked the bit where the xenomorph was like waiting for them to open the door so they can get all of them. I was like, ooh, okay.
Because
that was cool.
That's the thing is in the Alien movies that kind of miss this is in the original Alien, it feels almost like a serial killer. Like it's very intelligent, and it takes its time to like kill you.
And they're smart. The bit in Resurrection where they all decide to kill one of the aliens so that it eats through the fucking floor. Yeah, good shit.
Yeah, but I think Nathan, once we realize, there's like 10 xenomorphs, then it's like, well, we got to be armed or we're just dead.
Then it dips a bit into Aliens where we're kind of mowing them down. But I did like the scene. People online were saying that the scene where they shoot them all like it's a video game was bad. I think it was actually pretty good. I think that they did a lot to, the movie sets up a lot of shit that pays off, like the gravity thing. I keep wanting to call the girl that gets pregnant Dina because she's going to play Dina in the Last of Us show. And everyone's kind of mad that the girl who's playing Rain isn't playing Ellie because she looks way more like Ellie than fucking Bella Ramsey. Man. Everyone's like, fuck, why? And so seeing them together, everyone's been like, God damn it, this is Ellie and Dina. And that's now in my head, she's just Dina. So the bit when Dina is like pregnant, that comes back at the end. The gravity thing, they set up the one clip. They set up that they're at the bottom of the ship. So the whole end, when they are kind of like rail shooting the xenomorphs, there was a lot of like build up and like stakes to that because she sort of wastes some of the bullets on the Rook monitor, and then she has the one clip, and if any of it touches the ground, it's an eat through the hull and kill all of them. And so even though she does have aim assist, which is a nice way to be like, hey, I know her character's a minor girl. But like,
thank God they didn't have her be an expert out of nowhere.
Yes, they were like, "Hey, listen, this has aim assist. You're okay." I'm like, oh, "Okay, cool, thank you." So but because of that, she's able to mow them all down. But she only has so much ammo, and there's so many of them, and their blood's and their blood's acid. So then, even after that scene's done, when they do manage to kill all of them, then there's the worry of like, oh, well, now we gotta like 0G move through the acid spirals, and like it might the gravity might turn back on at any moment. I thought it was a really there's a lot of really good sequences in this movie that felt like they had a lot of like ideas for a cool alien scene, and they executed them really well.
I think for me, I think a lot of the tension of the we only have one round was kind of robbed by not having an actual ammo counter on the guns, which is in other Alien movies that like display it and like in the games and comics and stuff. But instead, this one just has like the loader bar.
Yes.
But this is before we get the ones in.
Yes.
I know.
Yeah, we're not there yet, Nathan. The A2s are always a little twitchy, okay?
I know, but it makes it hard because I think he says you have 450 rounds. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. But then it's just the loader bar. And I feel like once it gets, it feels like an actual loading screen. Like it gets to that last 10% and then they're able to keep going for like longer than you would expect based on the rest of it. And so it's kind of like, oh, they have as much as the plot demands.
Well, of course they do. But I think they do a good job making you feel in the moment that maybe they might run out and what would happen.
Yeah. So I have a question. I did bring this up on the Fictitious Dark, but I always like hearing opinions on it. So I want to ask you, gentlemen, how long does the chest burster take to come out of you? Because this movie has, I believe this movie is the shortest out of all of them. Besides, but yeah, even shorter than AVP.
I don't know. AVP is pretty quick.
Yeah, they're close. They're in tandem. Yeah. The reason it's weird is because this one was made from the DNA of the creature that was on the Nostromo. Now, I think the theory I put out, if you really want to write the movie for it, is that, okay, so the xenomorphs they found mixed with Kane's DNA. And so since they reversed engineered something that had human DNA, it is somehow able to grow faster when it is now in another human.
I'd buy that. I'd also say that I always feel like the chest bursters take as long as the movie wants them to, because
well, here's the thing: in the first 3 movies, it's pretty consistent, because in Alien 3, it's a queen, so you can theorize that it would take longer.
But then you have Resurrection when it's the one guy and it takes him, I'd say, like half the movie to burst.
Right. But, you know, that makes sense because, you know, the initial one with Kane in the first movie is like at least 12 hours. Yeah. Like it's not quick. But I think this movie is like, besides maybe AVP.
I think I have an answer. Okay. It might be because they didn't like the chest burster didn't finish its full incubation period. Because they froze the tail off.
So that was something.
So you could say that messed with. Maybe it didn't fully launch its way. Maybe wasn't fully like maybe like they have a certain thing where they again, just guessing how the mechanics work, where like it gets in there, then it like fully like secretes so it can grow nice and proper. But this is like more of a the birth happened a bit early.
Quick and dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish it had been more messed up, like maybe a bit more deformed.
Yeah. But
see, I had more of an issue with how they handled the facehugger itself. Because on the one hand, you know, you have it consistent with the first movie, you try to take it off, it starts choking them, and so they're like, okay, we have to neutralize the tail. And I'm like, okay, that's good. But the other thing is, like, when they're trying to take it off in the first movie, it's not just choking him. They said that it's like tearing his scalp. And
we're trying to move the fingers. Yeah,
ripping his face off. And in this, they just freeze the tail, and then it's fine. And it's like, I think she gets a little bit scratched on her face and stuff. But I'm like, I thought that would have fucked you up way more.
Well, she has no hair, doesn't grab onto. No, there's no grippies.
That's a good point.
Okay. Yeah.
This motherfucker.
But I'd say it's a pretty good Alien movie, honestly. I just wish that Rook was another Andy, and that's really my main complaint. I think if that didn't happen, I'd put it above. I have it as Aliens, then this one. I think I'd probably put it above Aliens because of the sheer horror. And I think that the thematic Romulus and Remus would have worked better if they were both an Andy. It's in line that the science officer is another Ash. I get it. It looks ghoulish. And it feels a bit icky too. Like I'm happy that that it's his friend okayed it, his widow okayed it. I'm sure they got paid a lot of money. Great. It's just, it sets a precedent that I don't like. The road so what evil is paved with good intentions or whatever. This is like this instance, okay. But I'm more so I think we're all scared of like, okay, like what if it's not the person's friends and family okaying this, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
built in a state.
I think it's a good movie. I think that I'm thinking on it more. I think it is kind of middle of the road, but it is surrounded by some great peers. So it's an embarrassment of riches, as Nathan has said before. There are some flaws. There's some gimmies, but overall, I think as an experience, this is a good step. And honestly, I kind of just want to. This seems like kind of selfish, but I do kind of just want to see the end of the David character arc.
Yes,
I think he needs to receive justice. I think that the ending of Covenant is so dark.
This freak's just out there, guys. We gotta take care of this.
Yeah, this guy needs to be brought down. That's all I'm saying. Is like it feels like so unfair that he's out there doing horrific things. But on this movie, it's great. It's fantastic. Did you guys hear what Fede Alvarez said about another idea he has for an Alien movie?
I know he said something about if he could do a sequel. He wants to wait like 2 or 3 years to let it like simmer.
He has said,
but I know what you're talking about it now. Yeah.
Yeah, he will gladly team up with Dan Trachtenberg, who directed Prey, to do an AVP movie.
That's too much sauce. I'm drowning. That's
a really good. I mean, when you think of the last time 2 people directed an AVP movie, this would definitely be an improvement.
I will to also briefly give my final thoughts. I think that Alien Romulus is a very well made film. I do think that as an Alien fan who did catch all of the references as they were coming, that it was a little too heavy-handed with them.
The cornbread was too much. It scared him off.
No, just
she's also wearing Reeboks. Come on.
But if you didn't catch all of them, Sal, then it was probably just enjoyable to have them for what they were, and that is fine too. But
yeah, definitely.
I saw them, I was like, oh,
yeah. Retroactively, I'm like, oh, there is quite a number of them. But yeah, in the movie, in the moment, I honestly was just like, man, what a good fucking sci-fi horror movie. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, that sounds familiar. And oh wow, good sci-fi horror movie. I can't wait to see Sean's reaction, because I don't think he has any Alien nostalgia at all. So I think he will be the litmus test for like, how is this movie for somebody who has never really experienced an Alien before?
So
so are you giving him Romulus first, or are you doing the David duology?
I'm giving him Romulus first.
All right.
Just because I don't want to leave theaters, because
It's funny because I went to see this with Katie, and she had only ever seen the original. So that was a very interesting experience to have her take on it. And I do think that people who haven't seen a lot of Alien movies she definitely enjoyed it. She immediately was like, I want to watch all the rest of the movies. And I'm like, awesome, cool. So it definitely is succeeding in getting people interested in Alien. So
yeah, I want an AVP with Fede and Dan, only so I could see an engineer duke it out with a Predator.
Please,
yeah, because you do in the comics, but no, I need to see that on the big screen.
I need that. Please.
I need the on-screen confirmation that the Predators corrupting humanity is what made the engineers decide to destroy us.
What if AVP3 is a stealth David setup movie?
Oh my god. Please. That'd be awesome.
And then we get maybe a Dan Trachtenberg David movie or something, or a Luke Scott David movie.
I'll take it.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential for where this could go. Are
you guys cool to keep talking? Because I have more to talk about. If you're cool to keep talking.
Yeah, I'm good.
One thing that we're not going to be getting any more of is Star Wars: The Acolyte.
Whew.
So. This I want to talk about this. So thank you. So I'm not sure if you mean the transition or the fact that it happened. I'm going to say it's a transition. It's because I'm selfish. But
read it how you will.
I will. Thank you. The mind sees what it chooses to see. Sorry, it was Michael Fassbender to Ian McKellen and Da Vinci. All right, whatever. So anyway, that's the tism. But so the Acolyte got canceled. I never really gave my full opinion on this show, I think, on the podcast. I did watch the whole thing. And I will say that it was definitely not perfect. It was definitely not awful. I think that it had a lot of interesting things it wanted to say. And I think that it was definitely doing the season 1 trying to find your legs thing, where like the first season's not good. It's just kind of like, all right, well, gotta figure out, like what I'm doing here. And a lot of shows have this where season 1 maybe not as strong as later seasons, right? And so the Acolyte got canceled, and I'm a bit bummed, not because I was super excited for a season 2, more so that like I feel like the Acolyte, from what I saw a lot online, it brought in like a new wave of Star Wars fans and people who like might not have been as interested or were sort of like tapped out of Star Wars after like the travesty that was Last Jedi slash Rise of Skywalker.
Speaking of, watch our initial reaction video that just got uploaded.
Yes, and we're editing another Skywalker video as well.
Yes.
So a lot of people did jump on the Acolyte, Star Wars with the Acolyte, and it was saying a lot of interesting things like about like the Jedi, the Jedi Order, and how they work. And I felt like they were starting to set up like, this is kind of maybe the reason why in 100 years the Jedi Order will so easily fall so quickly to like Palpatine and Anakin, and the whole Sith thing. And, they were setting up Darth Plagueis, and I would argue that the Acolyte himself was really interesting, and I think had a good mystery that they would have further developed. The two twin leads were, I think that they were starting to be a little bit interesting, but the acting was okay. I mean, it wasn't like dog shit, but it wasn't like David in Covenant.
He's like the performance version of There Will Be Blood.
Yes. It's not Michael Fassbender in Alien Covenant or anything, but
yeah.
But I think it's it's a TV show. It's serviceable. It's fine. Daphne Keane was better. Should have been the main character. It's okay. It's fine. So I'm bummed because I feel like a lot of shows need that first season to work out the kinks. And I feel like Star Wars is, as a franchise, they want to build a new era. And I think setting a show 100 years before episode 1 is a good idea. I'm sick of sticking around and like between 3 and 4 and whatever the fuck the Mandalorian thinks it's trying to do. Like, it's nice to have a show where it's like, hey, we're all the way the fuck back here, and I guess we have Ki-Adi-Mundi in one shot. You know what I mean? And I felt
if you like this era, I would suggest if you feel like watching Star Wars Visions, they got a short film that is around this era that is pretty good.
Oh, cool, hell yeah. But I mean, like, for like setting up your next era of whatever for this franchise that you're trying to, because they're trying to build the franchise to be this new thing, right? But they're not giving stuff a chance to like grow. I know that the Boba Fett show, there's no word of a season 2, and I didn't watch it. It didn't look very interesting, but I know that because of the performance of that show, the character of Boba Fett is being scrapped for future things that they originally had plans for. And so they're scrapping that. They're scrapping other shows. Andor went from 5 seasons to 2. I know that was Tony Gilroy's decision. But, like, man, after Andor, they got nothing else established in the pipeline. It's not The Mandalorian. Like, this could have been their... And Mandalorian's like a Western type adventure show. This could have been your more cerebral, interesting mystery show, which is what it was setting up to be. And what it was trying to do, and sometimes did pretty good, sometimes was okay. And it's just, I feel like it's a net negative for them to cancel this show that brought in a lot of new people, was trying to do something new and interesting. It wasn't perfect, but like, you might say like maybe they listened to the fan backlash because a lot of fans were verbally upset and did not like this show and said it was bad. If we're going by that logic, why didn't Clone Wars get canceled? People didn't like the fact that Ahsoka Tano existed at all. And it took time for her and the Clone Wars show to grow, get the first season pains out of the way, and now it's revered as this, like, you know, Star Wars fans like orgasm over it as this amazing fucking show. When if you go back, it was not originally heralded as the next great Star Wars thing. It was like doom and gloom. Why isn't this the Gendy stuff? Who the fuck is this Ahsoka chick? Like,
well, I will say that you are correct, but I will also say that the Clone Wars also brought in a lot of new people and a lot of people who hadn't experienced the EU before that, and that's why they love it so much.
Exactly, and I thought this could have been that for a more modern audience, right?
Yeah, I do. Sorry, I apologize, Nathan. I'll be real quick. This is a part of their. In a way, this is kind of the part of the culmination of their huge High Republic endeavor, which was a massive push from the Disney machine to make the High Republic era a thing. The biggest push it's ever had since that initial Force Awakens era material. And this is kind of supposed to be like kind of the zenith of it. But Nathan, please go ahead.
Yeah, I will say that I think that the fate of the Acolyte is basically the culmination of Disney's hubris, and how just shows how much they have poisoned the well. Because I understand, like, a show needs a chance, you need to, you know, it needs time to find its legs to do things, but, you know, from their previous Star Wars projects, The Mandalorian, the sequel trilogy, you know, the High Republic stuff, I've heard mixed things about. It seems like none of their things eventually find their legs. They all stay in this mediocre, with perhaps the exception of Andor. I haven't seen it. So for me, as a lapsed fan, I will occasionally say I'm not a Disney Wars fan. I'm a Star Wars fan. You know, I have no reason to give them the benefit of the doubt. I have no faith in giving things time to play out with them anymore, because I've been burned too many times. So if they want to try launching something, if they want to, you know, start up a new project, you gotta suck me off right away, you know,
because it seems like the whole venture was established on The Force Awakens, which the whole idea of it was, well, we're establishing what's going to be like the stuff later. And so now, to your point, it's almost like, like you're saying, I don't feel like giving them that chance, because it almost feels like a fool me once. Or even The Mandalorian, like, people really liked season 1, and then they got to season 2, and there was those people who loved the CG Luke thing, but season 2 burned a lot of bridges, because people realized, this has become something different. And yeah.
But I think conversely, like with the Clone Wars, the era of where the Star Wars franchise was at that time, it was the perfect place for it, because there was so much content in the expanded universe, and there was so much content constantly coming out, that if the Clone Wars wasn't immediately successful, that's okay. There's other things that fans could hop onto, and conversely, if they got invested in the Clone Wars and they caught up on the content, they could go, oh, what should I do next? And there's so much for them to pick out. But with something like the Acolyte, you know, Disney, while cranking out a ton of stuff, their expanded universe isn't as big as the Legends universe. And as far as I know, there's not really anything that has a unanimous, like, oh, this is great, outside of, again, maybe Andor. So if you are a new fan brought in by the Acolyte and you're like, oh, what should I watch next? You're kind of shit out of luck.
But I feel like, conversely, they had announced, I think, a few weeks ago, which is very funny, 2 like Acolyte type like spin-off novels, which is now very funny given the cancellation. But also, I feel like a lot of the reasons why streaming shows work is because that they have the reason why a lot of streaming networks rely on older content, because there's so much of a backlog of it, that Disney doing this abandoned ship approach after one season is not going to build anything.
No,
because it's one thing if Netflix cancels the show after season 1. If you're a Netflix viewer, you anticipate that to happen.
Sure.
This is Disney Plus, and this is the first Star Wars show of the Disney Plus era to be canceled. They have not canceled Boba Fett. They just haven't said anything about season 2. Same with Ahsoka. Andor's confirmed, and I think Mando 4 is technically confirmed too after the movie. The Mandalorian and Grogu. Disgusting.
Oh, I didn't realize that was a movie.
That's a movie. Yeah. It's a movie.
Okay, all right.
But the Acolyte
next year or 2026?
Who gives a fuck, man? But the Acolyte, right. I'm sorry, I just don't know. But the Acolyte's their first Star Wars show that they're saying we are canceling this. So, they don't. I feel like Disney needs to avoid the Netflix problem of we're giving up on stuff immediately. I think they have to stick to their guns with ideas and see them through if they want to make a new era of Star Wars work. But this, hey, we're gonna release this show, bring a bunch of new fans in, and then say, hey, actually, all those characters you connected with and want to see their stories, fuck you. I think it's just gonna make Star Wars into a niche, the niche fan base that maybe it was always perceived to be, but never actually was. And become this just for this small amount of people who just want to see CGI Luke say, "May the Force be with you."
Yeah, honestly, I feel like Star Wars, where it is now, it's and I say this with all disrespect intended. it's essentially where Star Trek is, where it's let's we bring in some new people, but overall it's a dwindling fan base of a once titanic franchise. And we have some kind of scattershot ideas, but as far as I'm aware, stuff has stalled. A lot of their ideas have stalled over there too, and it's a very weird place to exist in right now.
Especially when, to talk about LGBT and diversity stuff and all that yada yada, right? Which I'm very a part of. The Acolyte, has a very diverse cast, and I know they even have a character they refer to them as they. And I know it's not a very woke show at all. Whatever the fuck woke means, I guess it means that it's progressive ideas. But people like to rag on the show and be like, haha, go woke, go broke, when it's not even really that woke to begin with. But a lot of people who I feel like were not at first Star Wars fans, who are maybe more oh, the show is it has a black female lead, it has an Asian lead, and all this stuff, were kind of more interested in this, and then you bring in these fans and now you're kind of telling them to go away. It's sort of why
has become fascist. That doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything. Except for the Doctor Who special episode 1, then it meant something.
Okay, there you go.
That was the one time where I was yes, that is woke.
Yeah, I do find that when I discuss wokeness in media with people, that I do need to define my terms.
Yes.
With it, because it is kind of a buzzword at this point, where it's just
the well has been poisoned.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
But yeah, I feel like this brought in a whole bunch of new fans, and now they're being told to kind of go away, and I'm sure that they will, and I think this will actually hurt Disney Wars going forward, instead of actually maybe just for season 2 cut the fucking budget down. I don't know, Jesus Christ.
I think that's the issue, isn't it? Because this was, I believe, their most expensive Star Wars Disney Plus show, and it had
it doesn't have Tamara Morris
out of all of them. So yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I don't know. This is the future is not looking great. I feel like with the Acolyte, I was kind of interested again in Star Wars, because I was okay, set it in a setting that is not explored in the visual medium before. And then now we're just going right back to remember Luke Skywalker?
See, I'm sad because regardless of what I think about the Acolyte, the fact that you might have been interested to pick up those 2 books and then read more of the EU, that's that could have been a thing.
Now why would I care to buy those books, right? Now those books won't sell because you've canceled the show. So why should I give you more money for a thing you've already decided is not worth your time? It's why would I bother?
Yeah,
and they still have actors that were in the show scheduled for Star Wars and Disney panels. Like,
yeah,
what the fuck?
That'll be great.
What are you doing, man?
They're sending them into a firing squad.
This is insane. Just pull them. What are you doing?
Yeah, at this point.
Yeah, I think it's a net negative because it shows how weak they are. It shows how weak Disney Wars is. We already kind of knew, but the fact that they gave up so quick on you could argue a kind of a new idea is like, man, like, you guys fucking really suck. Like, you suck, but you really suck.
I think you put it perfectly. Is that we knew we've known they're weak since like 2019, but this was like they admitted defeat.
That's what it is. They're admitting defeat. Yeah.
Like, before they were so adamant that things were great, and then now it's like, nope, things aren't good.
The unfortunate thing is, I wish they were this reactionary earlier on.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
You would think. Well, they kind of were with Rise of Skywalker, but
wrong way.
Wrong way. Like, it seemed as if they were like, let's get 3 cuts or more, and each of them might be worse than The Last Jedi. We don't know,
Christ.
Fuck me.
It's like Andor and Cal Kestis are holding up the fucking Star Wars universe right now, man.
Yeah, because I liked Fallen Order. That was a good game.
That was a good game, man.
The story was good. The combat was, Sekiro was great. So,
I love Star Wars Sekiro. This is awesome.
I love Star Wars Sekiro, and the second game looks a bit more. I don't like the art style as much, but I'm sure I'll play it at some point.
Yeah, you can give him a beard now, so
that's true.
That it's already improved.
Yeah, I guess beards are what's holding up Star Wars, is Andor and Cal Kestis.
Yes, that's it. It's And then there's that new game coming out.
Oh yeah.
I don't know the name. What's the name of that?
Outlaws or something?
Out Star Wars Outlaws. Yes, you were right.
Star Law Outwars.
It's like it says experience the first ever open world Star Wars game. Motherfucker, where were you in 2003 with Galaxies, you dumb bitch?
Stop.
What the fuck are you talking about, man?
We talked about like a few weeks ago how sometimes gatekeeping is a good thing.
Yes,
man. It's like when Disney has their 18th first gay character.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
They don't even remember.
It's Ubisoft. Okay, Star Wars Outlaws. What the fuck is... Oh my god, it comes out in 10 days?
Yeah, and it's getting... Apparently, there's controversy because apparently people are quote-unquote review bombing it who got early copies. It's actually bad. I don't know.
I didn't even know it was coming out until I Googled it.
That's how bad things are, dude.
Poor Disney, getting review bombed. Back in the day, if you saw a bunch of negative reviews, you might just think the product sucked. But I can't believe that people are just, maliciously terrorizing them.
You just unearthed a memory to me where I remember the showrunner for The Acolyte, I think a few months ago, was saying that they don't look at the reviews because they know it's going to get review bombed, so they're not even going to pay attention to the reviews. And now I'm like, maybe you guys didn't, but someone upstairs did.
Yeah,
which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
There's also this tinfoil hat rumor that the canceling of the Acolyte show was a Dave Filoni maneuver because he wants to push his Heir the Empire movie.
What?
Yeah.
What?
How would you even do Heir to the Empire when Carrie Fisher's dead?
Is she?
I was you really got me there. I had to I had to process maybe Sal knows something I don't. I mean, he's been browsing the fortune.
I just saw Ian Holm in the new Alien movie, bro.
Yeah. Oh God, we're gonna get the Rogue One model back.
No, it'll be a bit touched up. It'll be a bit better this time.
No, it'll be the Rise of Skywalker one.
Yes, come on.
Okay, you're right, but I don't think that's the case. I think Dave Filoni has plenty of power that he doesn't need to do maneuvering like that.
Guys, okay, do you want to get the Star Wars Outlaws Gold Edition? You could play it 3 days early. If you pre-order, you get the Kessel Run bonus pack. And if you also get the gold edition, you get the season pass, including 2 upcoming story pack DLCs
for free. Okay.
But only to get the gold edition.
Oh, okay. I guess I'll just have to pay for that DLC because the game.
Plus instant unlock exclusive day 1 Jabba's Gambit mission and Kay and Nick's Kessel Runner cosmetics, which is just Han Solo.
That's so much more content that I can just ignore.
How much do you think the gold edition is?
$120.
$120.
No, it's $109.99.
Oh, that's very.
Now you have to buy it.
Got him.
Oh, good for you. And how was it?
This motherfucker.
Oh man. Okay, there's like 5 editions.
That's when you know the game is in dire straits.
Okay, there's the standard edition, which is the base game and pre-order bonus. That's $70. That's fair. That's whatever. Games are now $70 now. They should have been like that for 20 years, but it's fine.
It's terrible.
No, it's not. Gold edition is $109.99, which includes all the things I said. Ultimate is $129.99. This also has the Rogue Infiltrator bundle, Sabak Shark bundle, and digital art book. And then you can get Ultimate Edition with day 1 with Ubisoft Plus, which is $17.99 a month. It's their like streaming whatever. It's their Game Pass for just Ubisoft.
Okay.
Because why would you get it from just one company?
Sucks.
That makes sense. This looks great.
Yeah.
Jump into the pilot seat. All right. I can just play Jedi Fallen Order, but
yes. Real quick, 2 pivots, and if we had some other stuff, I'm more than welcome to.
I wanted to just say my piece about the Acolyte. Canceling kind of sucked, and you have to give shows more than like a season to pick up their fucking feed. But I understand when episodes cost $70 billion an episode. I get it.
Right after this, I'm going to go watch an episode of The Bear, but
good for you.
See, I'm petty enough where anytime I now hear about a Disney project folding, I kind of get just a little bit of a stiffy, but
yeah, like a half chub.
Yeah,
that's good. But I wanted to briefly say, because I don't know if I brought it up on the podcast, but I think I mentioned to you guys, I officially finished the mainline, which was awesome.
The mainline what? Sorry, you glitched.
Yeah, you cut out.
Oh god, there. The mainline. The mainline Hellboy comics. I read all of them.
Oh, good for you. And how was it?
Well,
shoot this motherfucker.
How was it?
It was fantastic. It's great that a Western comic has an ending.
Yeah.
Man, you'd shoot through that bitch.
I did.
I got back on the horse.
Yeah, because just for the audience's sake, the current release that Dark Horse has, because Dark Horse is really good about omnibuses. You can buy Berserk as a series of omnibuses that are very, very attractive, very aesthetically pleasing. And you can also get Hellboy, and they have 4 volumes. Although I would strongly recommend buying the 2 short story volumes and reading those after volume 1 as well, because there's some stuff in there that really makes the story better once you've read those short stories as it goes along. But I read all of it, and overall, Sal's reading through X-Men, and that goes on forever. But with Hellboy, the big thing is that there is a point where because the BPRD series spins off about halfway through, the ending is one of the most unconventional endings I've ever seen, in a good way, like a very very kind of experimental abstract ending that is more focused on the emotions of Hellboy and the spiritual aspect of it.
So it's like Evangelion.
A little bit, honestly, kind of, but way better. So the adaptation, Hellboy 2019 adapted the third omnibus, The Wild Hunt, and holy crap, that makes the movie so much worse once you read what it was adapting, because the story's so good, like Nimue and the Pig Man, like they're such great characters in the comic.
Is it possible to view? I've never seen the 2019 one, but to view it as like the third movie?
No, it is not possible.
Okay,
it's so funny. I recently heard an interview from the director of 2019 where he was like, I really think one of the things that hurt our movie was we were forced to be so faithful to the comic. And I was like, I doubt that.
Wrong.
Incorrect.
Yeah, he is.
Sit down.
He is saying that because he knows not enough people have read the comic. I'm sorry to say, but it's true. Most people know.
Motherfucker.
Yeah, I can't legally say that, but yeah, what that sound did, that sounded pleasing to me. But
oh my god, 2019 has a kind of good cast too.
It does. It's so
that's
sad.
Really fucked up.
Yeah, David Harbour, I feel so bad because he was the perfect casting choice for it.
He honestly is. It's kind of a shame that he's the worst one.
Yeah, he is actually in the worst one. And
after rewatching it, I can confirm that while I love him in everything I've seen him in, even if I don't like the movie, Hellboy 2019 is the exception, where even I'm like, you're not doing great in this.
No, it is very sad.
You did better in Black Widow.
Yes, but yeah, the comics are this amazing balance of epic and also really the short stories, especially. Like, you'll have these small little one-off tales that are a complete story, and this is why they're we've talked about this, why the Crooked Man is just going to be adapting, like, I think they said like the Crooked Man story and then a little bit of like one other short story to kind of give Hellboy some more screen time.
Yeah, because it's sort of like the Crooked Man comic is kind of a bit Mad Maxy, where he's like there for the story, but it's not really about him.
And this is what I mean is what's great is the comic is able to do both, where they have like an entire arc of, and this is not a spoiler, I'm just gonna say it. We all kind of knew it was going to happen, but Hellboy goes to hell.
What?
I won't say what context, but he goes to hell, and
that's crazy.
That's like this epic, Hellboy psychological, spiritual journey through hell. And then you'll get like a short story about like some Japanese ghosts whose heads fly around. Like it's great. Like it's so good. And I strongly recommend it.
I'm more mad that 2019 is apparently bad because the guy did fucking Dog Soldiers, and I fucking love that movie.
Dog Soldiers,
man.
Is that related to Small Soldiers?
Unfortunately, no.
Someday I might.
Shut up. It's a 2002 horror movie about a bunch of like British soldiers, and they run into a werewolf.
That sounds actually kind of
fun. It's Kevin McKidd, it's Liam Cunningham, it's Sean Pertwee.
Damn.
Perfect.
It's
wonderful.
really good, and hearing that his Hellboy was bad makes me even sadder because Dog Soldiers is kind of fucking peak. It's kind of Kino, as the kids say. It's Nova, as I would say.
Oh, Nova. That's good.
Thank you. He also did The Descent, which is a bad movie.
Oh, you don't like The Descent? Okay,
I do not like The Descent.
I've never seen it. I need to.
It's okay.
I will defend the director somewhat in that it is very clear that the studio probably forced him to reshoot with more comedy to be like Deadpool. Like, that is very apparent. I don't know if you felt that, Nathan, like the kind of ADR reshoot stuff for some of those Hellboy jokes. But
do you guys think that, like, seeing the effects it's had, do you think Guardians of the Galaxy was worth it?
What? Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like, how a bunch of things are now trying to be like that, like funny, kooky. Yeah, like Borderlands.
I do think that it did poison the well a little bit for the MCU because not everyone can be James Gunn, and Disney thought that everyone could for some reason. But at the same time, the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy is a fucking masterpiece.
It is.
And the only solid trilogy in the MCU.
I'm still a little cold on part one, but I do need to revisit it.
Nathan, you like Guardians?
I do.
But earlier you were talking about how you like Rebel Moon.
Yeah.
How do you can't like both?
Fuck you.
Shoot this motherfucker.
Oh man.
You can hold two opinions at the same time?
Listen, do I think that James Gunn is a more talented writer-director than Zack Snyder? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. For sure.
But I don't think they're like an antithesis of each other.
What?
They kind of are, but it's not like in a way that they're an antithesis to each other, like not in a way that would cause them to hate each other's work necessarily.
No.
That's crazy.
Not like Ryan Johnson and J.J. Abrams. No.
I have a question.
I have an answer.
Nathan,
never mind.
do you have any more? I know probably not because you've been watching better stuff and you've been on honeymoon. But do you have any other secrets to reveal from the asylum?
No, I don't. I'm actually. I'm so sorry. So I'm actually in the process of revising my list because it's ordered a little funky. I was intending. I don't know if I mentioned this before. I was intending to go through everything in order of release. But I discovered that the list I was using was organized by year, and then each year the movies were organized alphabetically. So it's a little bit off in some places. So I'm fixing that. But I once I get settled back in and Katie gets back to work as well, then I will definitely be making some visits to the
asylum. Well, this has been Nathan's report on the asylum.
I can't tell you how hard it was to find a thumbnail for a movie from the asylum. I tried to find an image to use for the thumbnail was such a fucking struggle.
You just got to use the Transmorphers poster.
Help me. You just got to go to the asylum's
wait, where?
Oh shit! I'm sorry. You just got to go to the asylum YouTube page where they've started uploading all their movies and just steal from their thumbnails.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry.
No, you should just use the original Blockbuster that they're ripping off.
Oh my god, that's a good bit too. That's a really good bit. Yeah. Okay, thank you. That's good. I'll take that.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I also, if you have a moment, the other day did a special thing. I rewatched the first 3 Evil Dead movies.
Yay!
Wanting to.
And not just in any old manner, mind you. I watched a cut where it was like 3 hours and 45 minutes, where it was one long movie, and I've always wanted to watch it this way. And I cannot tell you, it was just as fucking good as I thought it would be. Oh my god!
I made it like that, and
it sounds like such a good time.
I can link it to you guys, but to see
because the descent of madness.
Yes, because he's aging, and also you're seeing the nut crack in real time.
Yep.
Like seeing him go from like, hey, hey, you wanna, I'm a man and you're a woman, to then like 3 hours later, he's like in fucking medieval times and like, hey, sugar, give me some, give me your tits.
See, the only if I make another edit like that, I do still want to use the opening from Army of Darkness, since it feels like the beginning of an epic where he's like, my name is Ash Williams and I'm a slave, and then cut back to the first movie.
The edit I saw, it took the Necronomicon description from 2 and put it at the very beginning of 1.
Yep.
And open with that, and then you do the cut where as he's flying through the air, it cuts to 2, and then as he falls, it cuts to 3. Very good. It was amazing. It was to watch like an almost 4 hour long Evil Dead movie felt so fucking good, and you really feel the descent of madness, because by like the second hour or so when he's like really going cuckoo in the fucking shed, you're also sort of getting like, oh, I've been here for a bit. You're also getting a bit loopy, and then you rally for the epic final confrontation in Army of Darkness. And,
so you're saying that what I should do is like in the climax of 1, I take an edible, and then have it hit, and then you have to have it hit as he's like bouncing up and down with the lamp. Yes, up and so 40 minutes previous, boom.
I forget I might have shown you actually, but have either of you watched Evil Dead the musical?
hell yeah.
I saw bits of it.
Hell yeah, I did.
Oh,
it's
good.
fantastic, dude.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And of
it's a
course
work of art.
the Japanese Evil Dead movie. That's like 55 minutes. Bloody
Yeah,
muscle
do
bound
that.
bodybuilder in hell.
I
think
check
is
it
the
out.
name. I think it's on YouTube.
And Drag Me to Hell, of course.
Drag Me to Hell counts. I actually, and in my Letterboxd list, I have Drag Me to Hell as an Evil Dead movie, and I put
course.
Multiverse of Madness.
God.
Yo, listen, she's a Deadite, and then Strange becomes an actual Deadite with the fucking and everything. It's
he does become a Deadite, yeah.
It's an Evil Dead movie. I don't. You can edit out the Illuminati.
See, you need to watch Darkman.
I do need to watch. We should hold on.
Because I've seen Darkman 1 and I want to watch Darkman 2 for one reason. Because they recast Liam Neeson with Arnold fucking Vosloo from The Mummy.
I have to watch these. Okay, so the first one, it says Amazon Prime, but I don't know if that's like I have to pay for it or not. Watch Darkman. Watch now, included with Prime.
Yep.
I think we have no excuse not to watch Darkman.
Look, I remember the first one being quite good. Like it was kind of like a horror superhero film, and it was released around the same time as The Crow. It was that era where we did like some weirder kind of horror superhero movies, and it's so good because it's Sam Raimi's original creation as far as I understand it, and wow, just great, just fantastic.
Wow, you can rent Darkman 2, The Return of Durant. It's on sale for free to rent.
Hell yeah.
How long will that be the case? Maybe forever?
I also need to watch Brain Dead, the Peter Jackson zombie film where you have to kill every single part of them.
Yes.
It's good.
I've only seen the bit where he goes through the crowd with like a lawnmower and just goes back and forth.
It's the bloodiest movie of all time still, as far as I know.
Good.
I know, I think, weird anecdote, but I think the Markiplier movie Iron Lung actually is going to beat that, from what I've heard. Because
it looks like a shitload.
It's a movie set literally on a planet that's in a sea of blood. So
okay, well that makes sense.
And apparently, I know Markiplier had to go to the hospital because his eye got infected because he was in the blood for so long that it got in his eye, and he had to go to the hospital.
God.
Yeah, who knows what's in there, you know?
Yeah.
Do we have a release date for that yet?
I don't think so. Markiplier, Iron Lung. Thank God you're a top result. No, it says Reddit says it's December 11th, but I don't know if you can trust Reddit.
In June 2024, the director announced that the film was quote unquote officially done. That he was in the process of discussing the film's release. Okay, so
I think he's probably finding distribution. I could tell the movie was done because he started uploading videos again more regularly.
That explains it.
Do we have time for one more movie to talk about?
Yeah.
I got like 5 minutes.
That's okay.
So I need to retire.
Might hit 3 hours with Josiah. Who knows? So I went to the movies last weekend, and I saw Cuckoo.
Yes.
Cuckoo.
How was that?
Starring Hunter Schafer and Dan Stevens. I liked Cuckoo a lot, and you guys will get this, but Cuckoo felt like a movie that I would make.
Yeah.
I know Nathan, have you seen it, Josiah?
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay. It's kind of in the trailer a bit, but there's like some secret, maybe scientific or secret organization type thing controlling some supernatural thing.
Yeah. Yes.
Which is what I would love to write.
Sounds somewhat familiar, but
somewhat, yes. So I think it's a really good movie. It's a really solid horror movie that sets up a lot of things very well. It has a very good style and tone to it. It has a really good use of editing and audio mixing as well, because sort of the way the creature hunts is through like sound. And there's a lot of good use of audio and editing and mixing and pacing with that in how the creature hunts and like attacks its prey. Which you'll get when you watch the movie, that the creature, how it hunts, is very interesting and unique. But yeah, Hunter Schafer, it does a really good job here. I haven't seen her in a lot of stuff. I mean, she's good in Euphoria, but she's sort of playing herself to a degree. I know she put a lot of herself into that role, and she does a really fucking good job in Euphoria. But I've not seen what is it? Fucking Hunger Games, whatever the fuck, Songbird of Snakes and
the new thing,
whatever. I know she's in that. But she's good in this. She's good. It's funny because there's like scenes where she's like playing like a teenager that's like socially awkward and not sure what to do, and then there's other scenes where she has to kind of be the action heroine and does a really good job there of being more. She has a good she's doing a really good job here with this, and of course Dan Stevens is doing a funny accent the whole movie, and I love to see him be a freak. This is his third fucking movie this year. On a goddamn roll
last year,
bro.
Yeah,
man.
Did Abigail come out this year?
Yeah.
Okay, I've seen one of them.
And he was in Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire.
Oh,
that's right. I did say that I would watch it because you said it was better than King of the Monsters. So I'm like, well,
yes, it is definitely. Mainly because
watch it so I can watch the Asylum knockoff version.
Yes.
The what version?
Oh shit, you're right. I'm so sorry.
It's not ready for this. Yeah, so if it's still in theaters, go see Cuckoo. It's a good movie. People were like complaining that the plot was confusing, which is I mean, I'm not gonna say you're stupid, but I'm gonna say you're stupid. When
it's on record.
Dan Stevens like explains the movie at a point, and even if before that I kind of was gonna get anyway, and then he cleared it up for me that I was right. I don't know. Stay off your phones.
Yeah, I think the the COVID era of really knocking down theaters and really pushing the mindless streaming has we gotta it's time to retrain our audience to focus the fuck up.
They really do. It's like an hour and 42-minute movie. Like, it's not long. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It does a really good job. It has good scares, good moments. It has an interesting plot, interesting setting. I mean, it's set in like the German like mountains resort type thing. It's interesting. It's a good movie. It's a fun horror movie. It kind of feels like it kind of feels like a streaming movie, if that makes sense. But still go see it. I mean, go support new things, and Hunter Schafer's like a rising star, and Dan Stevens. It's a Dan Stevens movie. What do you want from me?
Criminally underappreciated.
Honest to God, I'm not sure how he's not like.
Now I'm picturing the alternate reality where Cuckoo and Speak No Evil, him and James Mac have switched roles.
Oh my God, he could have done it.
Yeah.
Listen, for people who are only tangentially aware, I know that Dan Stevens was in the live-action Beauty and the Beast. Don't hold it against him. I swear he's good. Just
man's got to make money, okay?
Yeah.
Go see the Christoph Gans Beauty and the Beast instead. It's a much better movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's gonna wrap up our longest Shuttlecast in a long time.
Yeah.
I don't know about ever.
We had to make up for the extended time away. So
there's a lot to talk about, but I feel good. Stuff's coming out this weekend, I'm sure, to talk about. I think it's none of us are gonna go see The Crow, right? We're not. No, we're not doing that. I'm just making sure. I
don't think so. If I literally have nothing to do, maybe
go see Cuckoo.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Cuckoo.
If it's still in theaters, it's
fuck. I mean, it is a low budget horror movie. It's probably already on streaming.
Bro, I was able to see Longlegs.
When I saw Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes on Hulu, I was like, "What the hell?"
It's a little bad. It's very bad. Yeah, no one's gonna go see Borderlands. Don't do that to yourself.
No.
It's bombing. Let it bomb.
Let it die, bro. It's not
even China's saving it.
No one's saving it.
I don't feel like they save anybody anymore.
No. Man,
movies specifically. I don't want to get canceled.
Oh yes, Strange Darling comes out this weekend. Starring our boy. It keeps trying to get me to rate Cuckoo. Leave me alone. Kyle Gallner.
Okay.
It looks like it's a horror movie. called Strange Darlings. It's an hour 36. Thank God.
I feel like I saw a trailer for this, but
it hasn't been being shown a lot in theaters. Honestly, it's been just See No Evil, or sorry, Speak No Evil, whatever.
Oh, that is.
Oh yeah, I did. I think Longlegs had a trailer for it, so you know
that's kind of so. Probably I'm gonna go see that at some point this weekend, definitely. That's probably the only new. So we'll try to watch Darkman because nothing else is coming out.
Hey, I mean, it would be fun.
I'm down. It's on Amazon. Oh fuck!
All right.
Oh my god, this was a fucking journey. I had coffee, so I was able to power through for once. But I'm not sure I'm gonna feel in an hour with this coffee.
Yeah, it's about 5 minutes till my bedtime, but so it might be a late night for me.
You old fuck.
I know.
Well, this has been a long overdue Shuttlecast. Nathan, I'm happy you're back.
I'm happy I'm back.
Some combination of us will be here next week.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. But I've been Sal.
Yeah.
I've been Josiah.
I've been Nathan.
Shoot this motherfucker.